Alrighty, welcome back to Sunday Shenanagins. Still yet to decide and agree 100% on a name. We've got a split vote currently, and they are still deciding. So we're going to see where that eventually comes. Hopefully, the expectation is the party will have a name before the end of the year for those who watch this, and we'll update the name at that point for the session. But last time we left off. Okay. Try to remember exactly what was going on last time. Click in my head here. Give me a second.
Bad news.
Altar at the very top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Do you need my notes?
Nope, I remember. We picked up at the lair. That's right. Okay. Now I remember where we were. As we picked up last session with the party kind of coming into them, dealing with the lair shaking, deciding not to escape on their ship, the party decided instead to head up to the top of the altar, or up to the top of the mountain, following the cliffside edge to a outcropping that would have a large altar, which they would find with strange Illyrium crystals just sitting there and glowing slightly. And as any good party would do, curiosity got the better of a couple of them, mostly Eider, and the party, though through a few unique reflex saves and some help with some very capable rope checks, managed to climb their way up. And with Eider chucking a spear, if I remember correctly, to get the entire that's where I'm looking. Ritual. Kicking off the entirety of the ritual almost immediately as a portal would open to some strange plane of existence where a creature with a massive black bony hand would start protruding out of it, trying to almost pull the portal open. Thankfully, due to some quick thinking from the party and some totally not cowardly decisions on some of the party's choices, the crystals of the lyrium were cracked and broken, while the party learned some dark secrets that were going on and had gone on in the past. As the party had managed to kind of fall back, unfortunately finding themselves now with strange brands marked upon their neck, a warning given and a threat promised. The party returned to their ship, capturing the young frost giant through quick thinking of Ned by summoning a hippogriff. The party had their hostage and proof of the experience after Eider managed to destroy what was left of the Illyrium crystals, ensuring in no way could this ritual be kicked off once more. The party would find themselves returning to the city after that, giving up on the dragon and the wyverns as they would fly away, accepting that they had managed to capture one of the necromancer child, and returning with that in mind. The party spent most of their time training, as well as contemplating their situation with Cataclysm, now a mark truly on who they were and what their lives were going to be shaped as. As the party would return, they'd be unfortunately welcomed to a cold and very hostile Utham, as his fleet would meet them in the air right outside the city, ensuring that they were not there to cause any harm or attack. Though a misconception, the party would soon find out the truth behind their situation. Though not all was bad and gloomy, as Utham had figured out a way to allow the party to still stay within town, though under constant watch from the guard, while they waited for the expedition that was coming up to head out with the rest of the mercenaries that were heading on that. The party would also, in exchange for taking on this expedition and being left without an airship, would be given a book that would answer a few questions quite important to Eider himself, learning quite a few things that may or may not come in handy later on. During their downtime, though, over the last month, which was, I believe, 13 days, if I'm correct, yes, the party spent their time in between studying and researching a few select topics, shopping and smithing, as well as training themselves to the best of their abilities. The party would find themselves almost completely distracted as days would fly by throughout the interactions. As we come to the final day of session, as we kind of come back to all of you, morning of, it is now the first of the planting, or roughly April. It is still in the year 65,009. The mountains are still cold, but the very proud singing and cheering can be heard throughout the city as spring is announced and people seem to be celebrating about the coming planting season as the supposed farms down at the bottom of the mountain are slowly being removed of all of their metal qualities. You lot have spent your time now here for about 13 days, working, training, reading, under constant watch of these guards, as you now find yourselves back at the house on the outskirts of town, and still the massive mountain wall behind you, thankfully keeping it so that nothing can come out, kind of sneak up on the house. Guards still posted out front. But you lot are pretty much left to your own devices within the building. Each of the rooms look to be very basic in their design. A fresh bedroll with what looks to be a very heavy hay bale that's been kind of set out for him to lay on top of. A bucket for whatever need you may need of it. A water basin and a simple armoire to store your gear and other equipment in. Beyond that, the center room just has a table that seems to be kind of lower to the ground with heavy cloth on the sides of it to kind of let you stick your feet under to keep warm, as well as a small and rudimentary like cooking pot, as well as fire pit at the far end of it that seems to have a chimney that lets all the kind of heat out when the vent is opened. Beyond that, the building seems to be pretty much bare. You lot are kind of feeling a bit more of the warmth. It's now, instead of the typical negative 50 to 40 as you've been experiencing, it's now starting to actually get up to around 0 degrees as you wake up in the morning.
Ryder's just mildly sweating and annoyed.
Either it's definitely a little warmer. It's not winter here all year round, but then again, they don't have frost mages here like back home, where they specifically throughout the summer constantly cast massive ice magic throughout the cities to keep the population cooler.
They'll just take up do the dwarven equivalent of getting coffee, which I'm pretty sure is just drinking heavily.
It's still bundled up to the nines because it's too fucking cold for a frost giant.
For a fire giant.
Yep, that's what I meant.
Yep, no worries. Alright. As you lot kind of come together around the table, sitting down, a dark ale kind of set out, Ida is kind of drinking on. The guards, while they don't bring food to you lot have been kind of given a cook that has been coming in and kind of setting out meals before you lot kind of come to the center room after waking up, almost disappearing immediately after you lot seem to come to, usually leaving a fresh stew of whatever they've caught. Today, as you kind of smell at it, it smells like a very strong rabbity scent, as you see a rabbit's foot kind of floating inside the stew. It looks to be thick with a brownish liquid and just seems to have a light bit of spice to it.
I'll slot some of my ale in it to season it a little bit more and then tuck in.
Alright, fair enough. As you do grabbing a bowl full, it tastes good and it's warming, but so it kind of relaxes you, almost the fatigue away.
Alright. So what's everyone been up to? Did you get the things I left for you?
I mean, yeah, you gave them to us.
I've been unsuccessful finding what I needed. Dom was a little bit irritated.
Spent the last couple weeks securing a vow. I'm almost there.
That's good. Any work finding any potential survivors for your church?
Not really. Have we gotten any word on the armor pieces?
You asking me?
What? Yeah, maybe. Just putting it out there.
Which armor piece are you referring to?
The one that Chasten had ordered Hroten to make for us, the cold stuff.
Oh, those guys.
Cold stuff.
Yeah, he.
The cold cloaks. Hroten mentioned the last you had heard that they would be ready for you guys at the expedition. So you, assumedly, you'd be picking them up at the expedition when you meet the leader. I will note, Eider, you were informed of who the leader of the expedition is named Burr Woodwalker. And is noted to be an older frost giant lady who is quite capable with her hands.
I'm going to ask in what way, and I don't mean it in a weird way. I just mean like in what professional sense.
From the little bits you were able to gain, she is not a craftsman like much of her family is noted for. She is more capable in combat as an individual, though the few times you would have seen her about town, walking, kind of working and talking with younger, what looks to be almost similar attire to what Dom wears, the very simple clothing. Some that seem to wear almost a very thick furred gi-like outfits. You'd assume that she has a similar fighting style to Dom from what you've seen of her walking around.
Got it.
Fellow monk.
Monkey.
I turn to Dom and say, it just occurred to me, the leader of our expedition might be more familiar with your method of fighting. Might be worth. Don't know how you came about your fighting style, but I mean,
my specific fighting style is created from me. I went on a voyage, but the basis of my training is the basis of most monk martial artist types, so I would not be surprised if we have similarities. It would be nice to speak to someone who could perhaps offer advice, but I don't think she will have my specific manner.
I just kind of nods and say, smithing's much the same. You'd find all kinds of techniques. It's I've found so far it's always worth picking somebody else's brain, but admittedly, could be a different kettle of fish for all I know.
I do appreciate the heads up. And you see Dom kind of scribbling some notes down, no doubt from his expedition, kind of packing things up, double checking his gear. Seems a little distracted, but is listening to the conversation. Mostly, again, just seeming frustrated that he couldn't accomplish what he wanted to. And so he's kind of he's eating, but he's eating in a way that an upset kid before school is, where he's he takes a bite or two, but he's clearly not interested, and he's mostly just sulking.
Alright. Yeah, as you kind of continue doing this, Ned, the goslings seem to kind of follow and just kind of cuddle up next to you as you sit down. They seem to stay at your feet. Hootie has stayed on your shoulder for the most part, almost glued to you. As you lot, though, kind of sit there, kind of beginning to enjoy your breakfast, talking and kind of going over the few things you've heard over town, you begin to hear a light knock as you kind of slowly start to finish, or get about halfway through your bowls of food, as it seems a heavy hand seems to kind of tap against the wooden door.
All right, Dom, it's time to go.
Who is it?
As you say that, you hear back, "It's Hroten. Who else would come and bother you, sorry lot?"
We
have many friends.
By a,
Handle. I mean,
I have no reason to apologize to her.
I hope you are. Never mind.
Opens the door and kind of looks in and goes, all right, young children, I've been sent by the Regan himself. And you kind of see him rubbing his eyes, and he kind of yawns and goes, I tell you, I haven't had a night or a bit of sleep all night, so we're gonna make this quick and fast. Y'all are expected by some time before noon to find the expedition that you're set out towards the bridge where the bridge is under construction between the two cities. They're gathering there. As far as it goes, you have the morning to yourself regardless, or beyond that. My only thing I came here to warn you about is Regan Utham said that there's a group that he doesn't trust the leader of and said he wants you all to know about. Goes by the name of Kazasi, and he leads a group called the Black Hand Mercenary Group. They're about 235 members, and they're about the majority of the forces that don't come from either one of the three kingdoms on this expedition. They take up about roughly an eighth of the forces of what you're going out with. So I want you to keep in mind that this lot is quite dangerous, and the Regan believes that they may be a problem for you all. The second...
And we're going with them?
Huh?
And we're going with them.
Yeah.
Numbers numbers are needed, and well, they're not to be trusted. They're quite capable at their jobs. We're already noted having managed to hold off the invasion of the Deep City for 2 hours from the Eloxodon forces, while the city's peasants escaped. They're more trained than you think. But it's not up to you to question the Regan himself. If you have an issue with their loyalty, then feel free to go and question them and deal with it once you're out of the city, to make clear. The second bit of news I've come with you for is a bit more... Okay, he kind of looks at Eider for a second, like pauses for a second, and goes, "Your item, Eider, the Wolfsbane.
Yes.
The Regan has asked you to keep an eye out for any other items similar to it. He doesn't know yet if there is a potential of being any close by. If you happen to see or find any, you are to let the expedition leader herself know. She will assist in acquiring it and is more than happy to, or will be more than happy to take care of any payment for it. We would like to make sure these items are fully investigated and cataloged by the collective prior to them being put out into the open world, if you understand my meaning."
I sips at his dark ale and just kind of nods thoughtfully and says, "No, I fully understand, and I agree with the sentiment. You have no problems for me."
I do appreciate that. I don't like going around and lying to people, so I hope you understand why I'm coming to you a bit with honesty in this situation. With that being said, those were the two things I was told to bring to you lot. You all are capable and on your own from once you leave the city, so keep in mind, there is no more hand-holding from here on out. If you die out there, or you find yourself near death, there's no one to come save you. Regan will not help you, as he kind of seems to slowly make eye contact with each of you as he says this and stops on Dom for a second. And as he kind of turns back around, going back to each of you. I wish you the best of luck, but if you all manage to make it, I will be surprised.
Oh, don't worry, Hiroten. I'll be back and annoying you in your forge in no time.
He chuckles and goes, I will pray that a monster somehow finds your tongue before you return.
Oh, it's all right.
What's
I know how to
this?
write.
Someone's annoyed you more than I have when I was younger. Seems I have competition. And kind of flashes a bit of a grin over at Eider.
Roten kind of looks at the lot of you and goes, "If you need anything until then, I'll be in the shop. The Regan has asked me to be available to any of the members, any of the mercenary groups who are setting up, but I do recommend you come up with a name before you leave, as the Regan did say he'd register you under a name of his own for the expedition."
Alright, listen. Unfortunate sons, come on. It's pretty great.
Is that in or out of character?
Oh, let's say both.
Hroden kind of closes the door as he sees Kez like turn to the group and say this, and just like slowly no, walks out.
Kez pitching it like that is so funny. Is it not a bit of bad luck to name ourselves unfortunate, or is that the point?
It's the point.
Look, our worst can't get any worse, even if we tried to make it worse.
Listen, it seems like all
To be
we've
fair,
had is
if-
a string of bad luck. Let's welcome it with open arms, huh?
It might reverse psychology. It might change our luck. Tom seems kind of like amused. On top of the name, Either, what is this about the item that's being mentioned? That seemed important. Is something going on with this wolfsbane?
We're still looking into it. But from what we can tell from it so far, it's not unreasonably powerful, but it is linked inextricably to greater powers. On top
How
of
so?
being cursed in a bizarre way, where it exerts influence on its wielder to try and make them more good, which isn't obviously necessarily a concern in and of itself. Problem is that there's a greater outsider, is the best way I can describe it, that has an intrinsic knowledge of it being awoken. Named shit. What is his name?
Ogum. Ogum. Yep.
Ogum. Who has intrinsic knowledge whenever it's awoken. At the moment, I don't know how much a lot of you know about sentient items, but generally, the higher their sentience, the more sort of awake they are. Some of them are generally they just give you thoughts or like impressions, feelings, that kind of things, and then there's stories, legends about ones that are genuinely a personality, a person, like basically unto themselves. Based off what sort of little we could really discern from it, it seems like this one is mostly asleep, but capable of more. I don't know if that means its powers are also similarly asleep. It's still a formidable item in and of itself, but given the level of attention it draws, it seems like, to me at least, something is still amiss.
Well, did you
Do we
try to
think we
shake
could-
them and tell them to wake up? That usually works.
We explicitly don't want it to wake up.
When that happens,
Well, would this Ogum person help us against the being we're going to face? If it's intrinsically good, and Dom does like air quotes, then surely it would be against the creature hunting us. Maybe they can fight it out and we can get away.
No, the item is intrinsically good. The person that wants to hunt it, I assume, is intrinsically bad.
It's not a bond, it's a, I see. It's like a bounty. And he kind of looks at Eider.
Ned just looks very confused at the use of the word intrinsically.
Sorry,
don't worry about it, man.
Naturally.
yes.
Ah, I know all about that.
Yeah, he
Exactly.
does know a thing or two about nature. Well, honestly, with everything there is right now to be concerned about, I think it's important to leave these big things in the back of our mind. But we currently got an expedition to be worrying about, and a mercenary company of 250 strong that might pose us some issues.
235.
235, my apologies.
Before we push the important things aside, I do have some information that might be useful, and I don't know when we'll be in a more safe environment to bring it up.
Is it
The-
environment?
The mention of the soul coins, or whatever they are, had me intrigued about the nature of them and how we might deal with those, with the foe we're facing. I've been at the college. There's not many books, but I got leads. The Kilozin territory might have some information, as well as the Snowbeard. Kind of looks at Eider and Nolotham kingdoms. They work more with stuff involving souls, and if we want leads on how to fight this thing, might be our best bet going forward after the expedition, of course.
I just kind of winces at the mention of potentially going back to the Snowbeard lands.
Tom kind of like arches a brow, sensing the story but not outwardly questioning you.
Oh, by the way, DM, has that Ella Ugbo church been built yet?
Which one? The one in in Utham's territory?
Yeah.
It has not at this point.
Gotcha. So we'll be on the road by the time it's actually out there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. As you guys kind of sit around the table discussing this, the morning passes by quicker than you'd expect. As you begin to kind of relax, kind of again going through what's been going on, kind of talking about what you've been up to. As I mean, for the most part, these last 13 days, many of you haven't seen each other more than to have a meal and then basically sleep. As you catch up, the morning seems to pass quicker than you thought, and as you finally kind of stand up with all of your gear and start heading out, you make it to as you see a large gathering on the edge of town, almost somewhere around 1,000 people in group, like size, many of them in different types of armor, carrying different items, weapons. The one thing that almost sticks out to all of you almost immediately is almost 90% of these people are wearing either bronze, copper, or silver items and armor. If they're not wearing just very cheap, what you can tell, leather from a glance. As you do get closer, though, you do see there are a group. There are 5 flags in total that kind of catch your attention. Regan Utham's at the front of this large crowd, where it looks like a stage has been set up. The Regan kind of seems to be shaking the hands of a few people as he's standing on the stage, looking as if he's just said something to the crowd, as many of them seem to be looking up towards him as you lot kind of catch up to this group. Though beyond Regan Utham's flag and the standard up at the front, you see the black hand on a gray background have posted up in one of the sections where you see a mass amount of black or dark colored or dark scaled kobold and dragonkin who all kind of seem to be sitting together, many of them seemingly wearing heavy bronze plating, and some even seem to be wearing what looks to be iron from what you can tell. The second group seems to be a large kind of smile-like creation on a banner of what looks to be pointed, sharp teeth, kind of almost like a blood-like lipstick dripping off the lips of the smile on a bright yellow background. This looks to be, as you see the name, Pack of Smiles, kind of written down beneath the symbolism. You see the large group out kind of walking about. The third group that catches your attention is the group that has the symbol for the Flocks of Justice. It looks to be a bunch of hammers with wings kind of put together in a fan-like figure, and with the words "Flocks of" above it and "Justice" below. Much of the group looks to be a mix of snowbeards, almost completely all about the same height and roughly width as FLO. Seeming to almost all be roughly about the same size, if not a little bit bigger, and many of them with much longer beards than Eider himself. You count roughly 68 members of this group. The Pack of Smiles, if I didn't mention it, you roughly count about 30 members. Damn, one way. That is, as you see these groups, the rest it looks to be mixes of troops that seem to either wear the Greg's Tom's sigil, Regan Utham's own sigil, or jaw terrasitis of the Samog clans, meaning the Rakshasa, and many of their sigil, a good few were creatures kind of seemingly amongst the crowd. Though noting none of them seem to be carrying the katanas you a lot have seen prior. Most of this lot seem to be carrying more like great swords or great axes and such. But as you look about, the Regan seems to be kind of climbing down the staircase as you finally get to the edge of the crowd, as he seems to be shaking the hands of the three major mercenary groups, as well as his own kind of leader of his expeditionary force. He kind of starts to step away and walk away as the crowd kind of starts to gather and kind of pick up their stuff and begins to make a march. It's not hard to tell you lot kind of got here right after the speech.
I think Dom's saddened to have missed one of Utham's great speeches, but we'll just continue on with following where the group's headed.
I will say, Dom, as you kind of hear the crowd around you talking in the little minor whispers, you do hear it was a fantastic speech. Some of the mercenaries were moved to tears.
Man, I wonder why we came in afterwards.
As they should be.
And I just, huzzah!
It's so crazy that we still happen to miss it.
But as you guys
Speeches are always great.
We should ask another person to give us a full one-to-one recount of what he said.
well, maybe you can go chase down the Regan before he leaves.
We need to unlock time magic so we can travel back and hear the speech. It's important, guys.
But as you kind of come walking up, you do see the face that kind of, after they stop shaking the hand of Regan Utham as he starts to walk away, the large frost giantess wearing what looks to almost immediately be like a scale-like gi that looks to almost be giving many of her tattoos an unnatural glow across both of her arms. Her forearm and biceps and triceps are bulging, and her shoulders look to be massive as she comes walking over. She stands about 22 feet tall as she comes over with her very short cropped hair and very narrow blue eyes that almost are dull but yet icy at the same time, as she seems to spot you lot and comes kind of jogging through, shoving a few people out of the way as she comes through. On her back you do see a quarterstaff that looks to be about as tall as she is. As she comes running up, Burr kind of smiles for just a moment, and then seems to kind of sing Dom, and then looks about the rest of the party and goes stone faced once more as she kind of comes to a stop in front of you all and goes, "Name's Burr. You lot must be." She kind of pulls out a registry, note out of a bag of holding and starts flipping through it and goes, "Do you have a name you're registering under? The Regan has stated there was a group that was supposed to be coming in with a name to identify themselves."
We go with it, guys? We doing it?
Dom seems to just kind of give a casual shrug like he's on board.
I just kind of give a deep sigh. Yes, we're the unfortunate sons.
Let's go! I don't do that as Kez though.
Not a character? Damn.
I kind of wish you did that whole thing as Kez.
We finally have a name, guys.
When Ned just kind of looks over and can see the sparkle in Kez's eyes for just a moment before he goes back to that steely-faced, irritated look once more. Ned, down. You know the truth, Ned. As you write Unfortunate Sons, remind me, Utham, what was the one that you had also come up with, just for my own note, if you happen to remember off the top of your head?
Oh.
That one's better. We're going with that one.
No, that one was
It's not better. I'll grab it and send it to you.
Yeah, no worries. You can send it to me when you get a chance.
What it is.
But as she kind of begins to write that down, and she goes, "Alright, Unfortunate Sons, interesting. So I've got Black Hand, I've got Pack of Smiles, and Flock of Justice. Alright, which one of you is the leader, and how does your representation work?"
Just kind of tentatively raise my hand, she's gonna make fun of me for no end.
Oh,
The giants all look down at the tiny leader.
adamantine armor, it makes sense. So she writes it down.
I was just like, oh, okay, that was a lot less painless. I thought she was gonna like call me a slur or something.
Wow, you
Um,
every frog.
Are you?
That's
She
pretty
kind.
gracious of you.
First
She,
seems
she
chill.
kind of looks at you and goes, "Are you nobility or are you of common birth? And do you have a first and last name you go by?"
Oh,
I like kind of pale and says,
question.
I am nobility, but no longer recognized.
You're one of the bastard kids. All right. What's your first name? I don't care about your family name then, unless your family knows you're here. In which case, you're here to bring honor to them and gain some title. If not, just give me your first name you wish to be called.
I just gotta like look down and say, I'll give you both. My family's dead, but they're still important.
If you say so.
It's like, I'm waiting.
We're waiting.
I just like think for a moment. It's like shrug, Miter Frosthorn.
She nods and goes, "Don't know it." All right. Closing the book up and goes, if you're the leader, then as mentioned, Regan Utham has said that you're part of his expedition squad, so it means you've been recognized as part of a mercenary group under his flag. To explain the basics of what this expedition means is, I need to know if you will be inviting your... Is this your entire company, or is there more of you? And she kind of looks about, seeing a few numbers.
We
Count out here.
have
Yeah, that's it.
should be a man by the name of Bardris accompanying us on an airship. He'll be returning shortly.
I feel like we just like also like slightly shimmy to the side and like the direwolf and cart come in proudly into display.
Yeah,
the
that too,
direwolf,
and
the
the goslings.
goslings.
Uh-huh.
I'll let Ned introduce those.
So you've got...
I don't deal with the animals.
an owl, 3 goose. Okay, she kind of writes it down, and a wolf. Alright. So if I'm understanding this right, you lot have 4 members and 5 familiars. Okay. Alright, whatever.
Counted as a familiar.
She did not seem to write down Bardris' name from what you can see on the in her notes.
Okay.
She kind of looks
That'd be
back down
great.
towards Ida and goes, "So, do you handle decisions, or does your party have to equally be there? I need to know for when we call meetings."
We typically do divvy up decisions based off of overall consensus.
Does that mean they need to attend?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, great. All right.
Democracy.
Fantastic. All right.
Democratic sons, baby.
We are meeting in the tent within the about 30 minutes to discuss the plans for the first few days of the expedition. You'll be expected to attend. You can see yourself around camp for right now, get to know some people, or you can stand there gaping with your mouth open, looking like a fish. I do not care. If you don't need anything else from me, when she looks over at Kaz and goes, "What?"
No, I'm telling Ned, close your mouth.
She told me to.
She just looks at Ned and then just looks at Ida and just you see a sigh.
Can I
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I have a question, but I also might have a sense motive just because you commented that she specifically had her attention on Dom. I'm familiar with the Woodwalker family, Hagnen. Would I have met Burr at any point, or am I just familiar with her family?
Burr is somewhat famous and somewhat not.
Okay.
For everything that her brother, that you would know as the head of the Woodwalkers, is a fan of Utham. She is probably one of his biggest hecklers, and is not very well liked for that factor. But she's also a very capable warrior and follows orders when she agrees with them, which is pretty much the
Okay.
reason Regan Utham has kept her around. She is notorious for training capable fighters. Many of the capable Vikinger amongst Regan Utham's ranks are her trained apprentices, but and she is also noted as having taken down supposedly a dragon with her own bare hands.
Oh, No, that's a fun rumor. Can I still, not malicious, just a sense motive check to see, like, what she seems to think of
Sure.
Dom and or the expedition? Like, what her general mood is? Is she, like, unbothered? Is she stressed? Is she, like, angry about something? Just
Yeah,
trying to
sure.
get a read.
Keep going with the paranoia feat. We're getting there.
It's less paranoia and more just being nosy. I got a 19.
Towards you specifically, you said, or towards the party?
Split. Well, specifically towards Dom, but also just her general vibe about how she's feeling about like the expedition, like what her mood is.
From what you can tell right now, given the notes she has, and given how she seems to be annoyed at the fact that you're bringing your whole party in to make help with making decisions, it seems she is dealing with a lot of bureaucratic information. It doesn't take much to figure out she's not happy about having to deal with the paperwork, but at the same time, seems to be living in the moment for the fact that she gets to leave the city and kill things, from what you can tell. As she's wearing full combat gear and doesn't seem to be too bothered. Even shaking Regan Utham's hand just a moments ago was a major step.
I can imagine, to suffer through a little bit of paperwork, but, it's about to get real fun, I guess, in her eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you are free, Burr, I should tell you about some dragons you might be interested to go and kill. They got away from us, but probably wouldn't get away from you, huh? And it's kind of like, there was like a friendly, but kind of polite smile, like just trying to ease tension.
She looks at you for a second and she stops and goes, interrupting herself and goes, yeah, as I was saying, we are planning to have a meeting, and where was I? Gosh, Jesus, before I was interrupted. Of course, the fucking Regan's whelp is a problem. She kind of scratches the back of her head as you see her kind of thinking for a second. Dom, you can tell she does not seem to care for you now. There seems to be a bit more hostility.
I interrupting, but I stand by my character choice.
She just kind of sighs and goes, I don't remember. Anyways, my age must be getting to me. Either, you're due there in 30 minutes. Make sure your members are there. Until then, you have your free will amongst the camp. We'll be taking off shortly after we decide what our route will be on the expedition.
Give a solemn nod and let her just fuck off.
She kind of looks at you and you can almost see the appreciation of someone who's seeing the recognition for a moment, nods and turns, leaving as she goes to talk to other people that seem to be more of what look to be dressed like her, as she seems to almost immediately brighten up walking as she walks away. You are left kind of to your own devices. The rest of the mercenaries kind of seemingly gathering together, some in small groups. The mercenary company seem to kind of be staying to themselves and keeping amongst their own ranks as they clean up and get themselves ready to go. But the more freelancers, which are a mix of soldiers from the three different countries, as well as a mix of adventurers and mercenaries hired on by the guilds that are backing this. Roughly, from what you can tell, it seems to be a very large mixed bag of races and people. No one that immediately catches your attention, though, that you would know. As
Burr is walking away, I would look at Dom and be like, I think you knocked it out the park.
Well, she's not she's a powerful warrior. I hold great respect for her, but she's not as fond as Utham as others. I suspect people like them would not be fond of me by association. But you see, Dom, maybe not Ned, but the more perceptive of the party might notice Dom looks a little bit pleased to have maybe heckled her a bit in return. Not antagonistic, but definitely he was fucking with her on purpose and feels he succeeded in some regard.
I hope this isn't going to be a problem during her...
I'm offended you don't think Ned is perceptive.
Are you?
What's your sense motive check, buddy?
It's a +4.
Hey,
Oh, okay. Maybe Ned does notice. I'm sorry to have doubted you, Ned.
I was about to say, Ned is a druid. Wisdom is his main stat. He's not going to be bad at a wisdom skill.
Now, the question is, can his intelligence puzzle together what he notices from people's behavior?
Surprisingly, usually the less intelligent you are, the easier it is to understand people's emotional states.
Because intelligence is like book smarts. Wisdom is, like the book smarts. That type is like street smarts and shit.
Yep. Emotional intelligence versus actual or base or informational intelligence. But yeah, no. As you kind of gather together, you're left alone, as many of the groups don't seem to approach you at first. Though, do give me a spot and listen check, everyone, to see if you catch anything as you're kind of standing here.
I was gonna ask the god to eavesdrop on the Black Hand people, so this works out.
I have a bonus in that now. Hooray!
Yay!
Oh no! It's time to destroy Eider. I've got to kill him. He's become powerful.
He's becoming too powerful.
20.
Oh wow, nice nat 20.
26, 24.
For me, that is a 21 spot and
Okay.
a 20. What was it? No, 25. Listen.
Jesus Christ, everyone! Oh my God!
Okay.
That 20 spot, by the way.
Let me roll mine.
Yeah, nice to waste that nat 20 right now, right?
So far, Ned's rolled the lowest with a 17.
You had a full party of wisdom classes.
I know, right?
Oops! All wisdom.
Jesus. Alright, good to
very
know.
low.
Oh, okay, yeah, so, I'm sorry, Ned, you got left out on the listen check. You don't hear anything in comparison, like...
Movies right up in my ear.
Yeah.
It was just going...
Oh.
Dude, he's like, you son of a bitch who left me with those fucking keys again!
As you kind of work about, kind of looking through the group, you can kind of hear the discussion seem to be mostly excitement about the expedition. Some talks about undead. A few that seem to mention seeing bog giants on the way in here being controlled by a Zill. They're expecting to run into along the first portion of the expedition. Others seem to be mentioning something about a group of bandits that have been kind of hiding out, waiting for the expedition to get out towards their direction. The last bit of information that you all catch is something that kind of seems strange. There's mention of something being weird with the group called the Pack of Smiles. Each of the mercenary companies seem to almost be kind of avoiding them, giving them a good fair bit of space. They all seem to be dressed as bards, but their leader, who wears a very darkened blue robe and seems to have a very dark chain necklace, has a large battle-like horn, like a Viking horn, if you're familiar with the ones they blow before battle that you've probably seen on the show Vikings, for reference. I can't remember if there's an actual term for it, but I think it's just called a battle horn.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. As you see this thing, this black battle horn with bits of gold and copper and silver rings wrapped around it with engravings on it, kind of sitting there. Many of the people kind of seem to be talking about the supposed rumors that this individual managed to kill over 100 other mercenaries that had originally set up here. A mercenary company that never made it up the mountain, as the rumors are going over. Yeah.
Is there any place like where there's like doctors, like medical staff of the expedition are at, or?
It looks to be about half of the Flock of Justice, which is the mostly a Snowbeard clan group that's over there. Seems to have a very large group of clerics and paladins that have a medical tent already set up.
I guess it's time to make my acquaintance.
Go get him, buddy. Hopefully they have some medical techniques you haven't heard of yet.
It's... Well, I guess we'll see. My last medical teacher didn't turn out too well.
Didn't she just die?
Perhaps.
Well, a little more than that.
Now,
Elizabeth of betrayal.
I say, are you all going with Kez, or are you going to let him go walk off on his own with all these strangers and mercenaries and soldiers and such?
We'll go try and make sure that he doesn't get hit on.
I wasn't asking for that last time.
We'll be like, you know how like you want to let the little sibling go ahead, but you're kind of hanging around. So we're within the vicinity, but we're not directly by Kez. So it looks like he could do his own thing. We're on like
Okay.
babysitting duty.
Yeah, as you kind of follow towards, Kaz starts to begin to kind of follow, or kind of walk towards the group. The closer you get, I will mention, the more you notice, many of these members seem to be almost all carrying two sigils. One seems to have the large sigil of a bear's paw on it. The other seems to be of a very large and elongated helmet. Either give me a knowledge nobility or local for your own background. See if you recognize this sigil.
Yeah, it'll be the same for both.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, does religion apply, or is it just not?
No.
Religion? Okay.
Yep, this is just a normal clan.
Gotcha. Just sheet load. We have a 28.
28. You do recognize the Longhelm clan as one of the Snowbeard clans that was not wealthy, far lower ranked, as they were a merchant clan, but they were known as one of the essential guild or clans at the during the Civil War against or between the Royalists and the Loyalists, having sided with the mercenaries and the infamous. I think it was her name was it Margaret Margaretha? Hold up, give me a minute. I have the character's name on one of my fucking things. Give me a minute. Margro, that's it. Magro. That held at the city of Hermescus Strongport, or Hermescus Port, where the clan had supposedly become very notable, having joined up with the mercenary known as Big, a living storm bear, as the rumors have stated.
Oh yeah, I know Big.
Yep. You would recognize, and I would say, as far as your familiarity, you'd know that the leader of this clan was known as Kesruk, a grumpy and older Snowbeard who was known to be more business, very little personality to him besides that, but was one of the few Snowbeard merchants that was very well known for his honesty, never going back on his word.
Gotcha. I just kind of point to the kind of the assembled groupage and related domus. I think if we end up running afoul, those might be the people to trust. The clan of dwarves that they're from are, I mean, admittedly they're brave and sort, but their leader's not known for lying. So,
Considering we have reservations about one group, and I, and as well as the rest of our encampment, seems to have reservations on another, and his eyes kind of subtly slide to the pack of smiles and then back to Eider, it would be good to have someone we could call an ally. Do you have a good reputation with your people?
I just kind of shrug and say, mostly I don't think they much care. I mean, my family was relatively defunct by the time I left, and then that hasn't changed, obviously.
Then we will reach out to them if assistance is needed.
As you two are
I'm
kind of
still waiting to.
Oh, good. Sorry, Dom.
I'll say Dom would be. I'm still waiting to see about this flocks of justice people. I'm gonna kind of just scan the crowd again.
Yeah, as you two kind of watch and kind of have this discussion, you watch as Kez kind of starts walking into the group. Kez, almost immediately as you take a few steps towards this group of what you now realize is almost 68 paladins and clerics well, you don't see a god symbol. You do see that these carry the two sigils on their neck. One of two necklaces. One that seems to be longer than the other, with the bear paw kind of being a bit longer and more prominent on their chest. two of these snowbeards kind of come walking over to you, and one of them who, though his beard is like barely long enough to cover his chin and make him almost immediately appear as young, he is wearing what you recognize almost immediately as full iron plate as he looks up at you and goes, "State your business."
Just simply wanted to introduce myself to your medics and the like. I am one myself, and I just wanted to be friendly.
What's your name?
I'm Kesnanak of the Unfortunate Sons.
You hear a light giggle amongst the dwarves all around. As you see a slight giggle from him, and as he tries to keep his composure, is really trying hard not to like show any crack in his face. He looks at you and goes, "Oh, you'll want to meet want to meet Kezrak. Follow me." As he kind of turns, and the dwarves kind of like start expanding outline, kind of creating a funnel for you to walk through. As he takes you into one of the back tents, you see as the tent flap opens up, and immediately the strong smell of smoked meat kind of hits you. All on either side of the small tent, you can see little cookers with dwarves going at it, cooking some sort of heavy meat, kind of tossing sauces onto it, and working about as this older dwarf kind of sits on a pretty large pillow on the floor, kind of just above or on a carpeted ground, and looks up at you with his feet crossed. His armor looks to be made of solid adamantine with little mithril runes going all throughout it. He kind of smiles up at you. His beard seems to be kind of close cut, but seems to be done so on purpose. As you can see, the thickness has come from age. His head is shaven, but it doesn't take much to realize there's not many hairs on the top of his head, whereas you can see little thin ones on the sides where he had missed cutting them away. His eyes look to be pretty narrow and very dull by sight, and overall the rest of him is just pretty average for what you'd expect of a snowbeard. Sitting down, he's tiny, but as he looks, or as you walk in, you can almost feel a slight fear aura coming off of the man as he kind of takes a look at you and gives a bit of a kind of a raised eyebrow, waiting for you to say something, as the young dwarf who brought you in here just kind of stands off to the side waiting.
Hello, sir. My name is Kesnanak. I am of the party Unfortunate Sons. I am a cleric of Ella Ugbo and also a practical medical doctor. And I just wanted to make acquaintance with you and your band of mercenaries.
He just kind of stares at you as his eyebrow lowers, and you see it like seems to turn to almost as he furrows his brow in anger. Kind of starts to stand up. His knees begin to pop. His glare at you for a moment. Give me a diplomacy check.
Of course.
1 point away from a nat 20, so that would be a 19 plus 15.
As he just kind of glares at you, staring for a second, you see just irritation in his eyes. And then you see it go immediately to a smile as you see the rotting teeth in his mouth, the very bright yellow coloration as he does so, but seems to be a genuine smile as he puts his hand out in front of him. No, he comes up to your knees in height and truth. He kind of looks up at you as he does so.
Of course, I'll shake his hand.
He takes one of your fingers, and though his hand is definitely big enough to take a good bit of your hand and actually shake it, he seems to do it as almost on purpose as he smiles up at you and goes, "All right, youngin. Yeah, again, I have to excuse me. I'm very, very racist. I can't tell the difference between your races, male and female. And your name does not give anything away."
No, don't worry, sir. I'm cursed.
Aren't we all? I'm cursed to look this beautiful. Every morning my wife wakes up and just can't believe it.
Do not worry, sir. I am a male.
I wasn't worried. I just didn't want to call you something I didn't know.
I respect that. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, by Kesnanak.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. An Ella Ugbo worshipper at that. They're lots rare these days. Especially after all the heresies.
I've heard.
Well, if you're looking for honest work and you're wanting to learn some things, feel free to join us. We'll be coming at the back of the tent or at the battle. I don't plan to put my men at risk, but I promise the Regan, as well as my own king, that we'd participate and keep the men healed, and we could use the money. If I'll be honest with you, ever since the Civil War popped up, Big has been a great inspiration, but it's going to take some time to build the fortune we need to really truly put his name and his beliefs into work.
Of course. I do intend on being on the front lines, and I'll be making sure that the men and women that get sent back are at least stabilized, and hopefully they'll last a bit longer to get to you guys in time.
They do. They don't. Ain't no business of mine. I get paid regardless. But you're welcome amongst us. If your rank treats with us honestly and respectfully, you're always welcome in our numbers. Whether or not you bear the patron is your decision, of course, as he kind of holds up a necklace of the big bear's paw print and goes, but if any of your members wish to convert to learn the ways of good, I would be happy to bring them in and welcome them as a brother.
I will certainly offer offer to them.
Kind of smiles as he does so. Again, the teeth kind of catch in your eye and goes, well, feel free to find yourself aware on the camp if you'd like. My men are kind enough. I must recommend, though, I don't think you should be mixing with those pack of smiles a lot. I saw what they did to the other Dragonkin group that were trying to join on. It ain't a pretty sight by any means.
Well, keep that noted. Thank you for the information.
He nods as he kind of takes a strong drink, or a heavy gulp of the drink in his canteen, and setting it down, the wooden cup kind of rattling a bit as he does so, and looks at you and smiles and goes, well, I'd recommend grabbing some meat on your way out. If it doesn't put some hair on your chest, it'll knock you on your ass.
You know what? I'll have to take you up on that offer. I appreciate your generosity.
He kind of raises the mug again once more, kind of smiles, as you see one of the cooks kind of grabs a very fat slab of some sort of meat and kind of hangs it out in front of you off of a knife, as it kind of starts to drip.
I will grab it and right there take a nice bite of it.
As you do, it seems to have a almost immediately strong alcoholic flavor. I need a fortitude save from you.
That is but a 16.
As you take a bite of this meat, it's very surprisingly rare. As it bite through it immediately, and it begins to melt in your mouth, pulling apart as it does so. The strong taste of alcohol and something else that's tastes like cheese but is not cheese, and you know that. As you begin to kind of explore the flavor, the alcohol flavor becomes a lot more intense the more you chew. The very strong dwarven ale that you're kind of starting to realize was mixed into whatever sauce was coating the meat begins to take full force, and as you begin to kind of find yourself kind of steadying yourself, you feel a pretty heavy buzz at this point. You do have a disadvantage on all dex checks for the next hour.
This does have some kick.
He smiles up at you and goes, it's my fourth one this morning.
Huh. You're definitely one of the hardier folks then, huh?
When you grow up on the road with a rough family like mine, you'll learn it's a good time to enjoy some finer qualities, and lower qualities make fine quality when you douse them in enough alcohol.
No truer words have ever been spoken.
He smiles at that. As you see, he kind of like waves his hand, and this young dwarf that kind of marched you in walks over to the door and opens it up once more. Ned, Eider, and Dom, you can see as Kez is kind of standing there, slightly leaning, and every once in a while seems to be like slightly catching himself as he starts to turn. I imagine, are you walking out?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna walk back to the party and offer them a bite of this meat.
I just kind of like nods approvingly and says, "Well, you either made friends or lovers, considering you're drunk on the way out."
Take a bite of this slab of meat and you'll know everything.
Either it doesn't take you much to recognize what is called dwarven slop. It's a common meal for used for travelers, mercenaries, and such. It's what they use as a preservative. They take any kind of meat they can get, and they just douse it in enough thick alcohol and sauce to remove the flavor after cooking it thoroughly, or just enough to where you can eat it, and then hope that it doesn't taste bad.
They got this recipe down pat, that's for sure. It's one of the most. It's definitely. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever had, but it's definitely one of the most interesting. It's actually I'm quite fond of it.
Well, the upside is by the third bite, you can't taste much.
Well, it might be the second bite for me. It's been a minute since I've had anything of this.
I just like slowly guide Kez away from taking more bites of the meat.
I don't think it. Nah, dog, you ain't gonna reach this.
I would say either Dom and Ned. It doesn't take
Sleight
much
of
to
hand.
see the cook who's out working in the open with the big barrel of sauce is just pouring what looks to be a keg the size of a small frost giant into this sauce full of a dark liquid.
The guider just busts a small tear, finally smelling good dwarven ale.
Hater, you sure you don't want a bite?
Oh, trust me, I want a bite. I don't want one right before we go to the meeting, though, just in case. It's been a little while.
That's fair. Hey, it's not. I mean, hey, if it's alcohol changes your cognitive function for you.
Skez kind of stumbles over his words left and right, kind of like looking for the question.
Suddenly, very glad you won't have to be at the forefront, huh, Kez? You can enjoy yourself. It's kind of just side-eyeing the meat.
Even if I was still the party leader, I would be consuming this.
That you would.
Right. Shares a look with Eider.
Hey, Ned, you want to? Wait, never mind.
As you kind of hold it up, and then, like, the immediate sober thought of Kez's face just stops with a smile and goes, and pulls it back slowly, turns back over to the other two.
Blink stare and blink back at Kez.
Hey, Hootie.
Hootie kind of looks at it and seems to lick its beak for a minute and leans down and tears a chunk off and seems to swallow it down.
Oh no.
Hey, listen.
Let me pull up Hootie's.
We'll survive
What is
this.
Hootie's fortitude? Let's. I think, if I remember right, they don't have very high.
Nah, I'll be fine.
I think you just killed Hootie.
No. It's, let's
Hootie
see.
might not be able to fly for a hot minute, though.
His fortitude is +2. Would you like to roll it, Ned, or shall I?
Can he even save?
I'm giving Ned a second to decide.
What's the DC? That's the question. The chocolate didn't
Well, I
take
was
out
looking to
Hootie, but
see
this-
what it
this one-
added, if anything got added for Animal Companion, but not for... You said it was +2?
Yeah, Hootie has a +2 to his fortitude.
This motherfucker better hopes he succeeds, because I'm gonna let the goslings catch him. 21.
Sink or swim, bitch. I need a new animal companion next level.
There, for a moment, there's a look on Ned's eyes of just disapproval at Hootie as he takes a bite as Hootie seems to kind of catch the glance, swallowing down, kind of, as it starts to feel itself kind of taken by the alcohol for a second, seems to like hold itself solid and just like it comes to an attention, almost like looking up like it's not drunk. Slightly swaying to side, it still stands. Seems to keep itself looking like it's at attention.
In honor of this event, I have grabbed myself a beer to enjoy.
It is a Samuel Adams Porch Rocker, a lemon rattler.
We are not sponsored, nor will I take sponsorship. Samuel Adams is terrible beer. No.
I will gladly be sponsored by any beer company. I will tell everyone.
Kenz's new god, Samuel.
I swear to God, I will make it very
Sponsored
clear.
I worship Yingling.
I will do everything to make sure any beer sponsorship is ruined. I promise you that. Don't come here. I will do all the factory searching. I ain't drinking your crap. Ugh. But as Hootie tears into this thing, kind of swallowing it down, coming to attention, puffing out his chest as much as possible, acting like he is fully there as he slightly wobbles every once in a while as Ned moves about.
I salute Hootie.
I shuffle a little extra just to make it extra hard to stay on.
Damn, that's
Damn!
out for Hootie.
That's some animal cruelty right there.
What the heck, Ned?
I just like pinch my brow and like regard my drunken owl companion party member and my drunken cleric party member. Yeah, that's gonna be a great first impression.
Dom leans in, punches down to Eider, and is just like, when we said we needed everyone there to make decisions, do you think she'll make us have everyone?
I think maybe just
Or just most of us?
I like pause to think about it for a moment. And it's like I think Dom could put it together. He's like was about to say is like we could leave them behind and you could come with me. Thinks about it for a moment, leaving Don and drunk Kez and Ned alone.
Wow, we're gonna have our own like
Dom
hangover
has the same
movie.
look. Dom has the same look of like there's no good choice.
All right, maybe I'll just go and tell you about it later.
Matt, guys, I can't wait to go to this meeting of all the leaders. I really have a thing or two that I think I could provide to assist this expedition very well.
I just kind of nod and start like drawing like little faces on some rocks and put them out in a little circle and say, "All right, here you go, Kez. Go ahead and practice."
Practice what?
Your speech. Don't worry, I'll go get us some more meat.
Listen, I have a negative to my dexterity, not my intelligence, Hater.
Hey Ned, how do you feel about talking to the rocks, huh?
Never had a good experience, to be honest.
They're always so mean.
Centuries of dwarven heritage spat upon.
You know, you tell them your life secrets, and they respond by being cold and stone-faced. I just don't get it.
That's how you should model your own
that
life.
is pretty fucked up, Ned.
Have you tried sauna?
They don't sound like good friends.
They're quite hot-headed, though.
I just walk away from all this dwarven blasphemy.
Yeah. Dom's like slowly backing away with Eider, like very much stealthily, like I'm just gonna.
Dom, I have yet to
put a little
offer
bit-
you any of this delicious meat. Please, Dom, take part.
I
You
would like
are-
a clear head.
You are a hearty individual, are you not?
I'm just going to the fucking meeting.
No, I'm just like.
Dom has now
Sorry,
become
maybe
bait
back
for
to
Kez to
Eider.
chase around.
Ned is following Ivor.
As Kez starts to
Eider, prepare what you're gonna say.
I'm
Dom,
not gonna say a goddamn thing. I'm just gonna listen.
Dom, are you following Eider, or are you gonna, are you staying
Oh
back?
yeah, I'm walking alongside him.
Alright.
Just like slightly behind, but like I am just keeping pace with like my arms behind my back, looking a little bit like not like he doesn't want to go, but he also looks like he kind of wants to see what chaos will ensue. It's like a mix of like this is not going to go well. This might be kind of funny to watch.
Alright.
You do notice that Eider is moving, markedly faster than he normally does.
Kez
You
is
actually have
going
to struggle.
Same here.
Kez is going to follow after with Ned and as well coming after. So as you lot head over, you see as the tent is already kind of set up at the front of the camp, as the stage is kind of being pulled apart now by some of the frost giants. A large tent has been set up, and you see a couple other groups have already kind of entered in as you open the flap up. Guards standing out seem to almost immediately seeing you kind of stand off to the side, allowing you lot pass. As you come in to sit around the table, you do see a black-scaled kobold in what looks to be adamantine plated armor, sitting there with one of their eyes slightly scarred over, where you can clearly see there's no eye there anymore. It's just a white ball that seems to have been put in place. Beside him, you see the member of the Flock of Justice that you kind of almost immediately recognize as Kezruk, sitting there, slightly drunk, as you can pretty easily tell, kind of smiling at the Black Hand Kazasi leader. The last person of sitting there, other than Burr herself, is you see the covered bard figure whose now hood is now pulled back, and you see a grayish skin with long white hair. She seems to smile at you and has a very beautiful smile as she does so. She kind of looks almost elvish as far as her features. A very lean face, very pointed jaw as well as ears, as she kind of sits there looking about at these bunch of maps kind of laid out for the pathways. As Burr kind of sees you lot, though, walk in, standing at the opposite end of the table, kind of at the front of it, or the head of it, she looks over at you, Eider, and sees your group walking in and just goes, "Alright, go ahead and take a seat. Whoever your leader is sits at the table. The rest of you stand off to the side." You're going to do a quick little detect evil?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I can stand. I can sit at the table and be stunned and be stunned for a round. It'll be fine.
I'm just gonna double check something for detect evil if it's noticeable. Sense motive? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, sense motive, just the entire vibe of the group, specifically the Black Hand member. Just listen. It was gonna happen.
No, I knew.
It's inevitable.
Yo, my boys over there on the other side of the table.
Your boy.
Yep. Yeah, go for your evil. Let's see. Dirty 20. Alright. With the detect evil, you do recognize almost immediately that the Black Hand leader, the kobold, is evil. He is only faintly so. The member of the Flock of Justice does not come off your detect evil, thankfully. So that's good news. And then the leader of the Pack of Smiles, the female gray-skinned elf-like woman with the cloak, is very evil. You'd get from the aura you get is roughly strong. Which I believe, does that stun you? No, it's only overwhelming. Okay. You're on mute still, by the way, Eider, if you were talking. I know I heard your mic click, so.
No, it still stunned me. I think it's double the HD of the caster.
Okay, fair enough. Then yeah. As you find yourself kind of stunned almost as you kind of sit there looking at the maps, staring down, trying to make it look like you're just really fascinated with this one map location for a minute. Dom,
thinking real hard
about the room, and you're just trying to get what the feeling is of the room right now.
Yeah, basically trying to he's like, here are all the leaders of the group. Which seem genuine, like they're here for the mission? Which seem to have ulterior motives? Is there any suspicious side glances, like shady shit going down? He's specifically looking at the leader of the Black Hand and the Pack of Smiles because he's hella suspicious of them.
The Black Hand, as you look about, I mean, he fits every stereotype of your, what you'd assume to be evil. Missing an eye, a scar right across it looking like it got clawed out, the other eye kind of narrowing and staring at the map and then looking up at Burr in annoyance. It doesn't take much to realize that the Black Hand member is definitely annoyed and seems to be more focused on his own interest. From what his interest is, you can't really tell, but he does seem to keep looking and eyeing at the map every time Burr's going over it. Seems to be looking at other areas of the map, almost on the opposite ends. Not really taking note or making any moves, but his eyes just seem to keep getting drawn elsewhere. What catches your eye as far as where it seems to be drawn on the map is that it seems to be looking at an area where there's a giant hole in the ground, about the size of a small town, from what you can tell.
Okay.
That you'll be passing within the first 7 days from the route you can tell, because this will be near
Is
night.
this like the town at the beginning of the campaign, or is this a different area?
It would be toward near the city of Knighton, or the town of Knighton, which was the town you guys got kind of banished to when you left Shrimp-Purser's last hold.
Okay.
If you remember, that would be when you guys saw the glowing lights over the town and all that, as well as the dragon that flew by really fast up into Utham City.
Yep.
Yep.
The very one.
Yep. But otherwise, as far as the rest, you get no read on the leader of the Pack of Smiles at all. They seem to be almost stone-faced, nothing kind of given away in the slightest. The Kezrak Longhelm of the Flock of Justice, the Snowbeard leader, seems to have an honest interest in kind of taking note of things, writing things down for himself, and seems to be looking at the map and kind of drawing a somewhat design for himself. He seems to be honest about his intentions and doesn't seem to have any other interest. No, Eider, you do not currently.
Okay.
Yep.
I do give like a meaningful nod and like a smile to my dwarven compatriot, and then turn back to studying the map and waiting for the meeting.
Burr kind of looks at, and as another couple members join of what look to be a kind of normal soldiers wearing what you recognize as the sigils of both of King or Regan Utham, King Greg's Maratom, and Ja Terrasitis do come in, kind of sitting down, though keeping themselves quiet as well. They don't seem to speak up at all at the beginning as Burr begins to look about each of you and goes, "All right, with a room already here. All of you lot represent some member of the organization, minus the 3 guilds invested. However, their investment is recognized through, of course, the Flock of Justice. We want you all here to recognize that you are going to be paid regardless of your services, but as you all recall, if you all die, you will not have your services paid to any members that survive, or to any members of your family that weren't part of this expedition. Surviving members can lay claim to other members of their group's pay. However, as a recommendation, any and all killing of other mercenary groups while on the expedition without orders given by me, having Regan Utham's authority, will be considered a murder, and we will treat that as if we were in Velkomen. Meaning, I will put you to death by my own hands." As she kind of goes cold and gives a slow glance to each of the leaders at the table. After a moment of pause and kind of almost some glares from some of them, and almost a kind of open challenge from the Black Hands leader, who seems to kind of smile as her eyes, as Burr's eyes lay on them, she continues once more and goes, "Our expectations," as she pulls out the map, and goes, "is I expect us to be heading about from where we're at right now to down the mountain all the way up north, and then cutting down south straight to avoid the massive lake, trying to go across the edge of what is known. We will be making markings for any deposits of minerals and metals. With that, when we get across, we will make a sharp turn up to the north once more to follow the river along. There is a small potential of a newly discovered apex creature in the area we'll be curving." She kind of starts to point out the map. "And then we will follow the river along to the King's Road, the King's End city." She kind of takes the map she's kind of drawing on and places it out in front of you lot to show you where you're at. As she does so, she continues on and goes, "This will take roughly. The expectation is about 3 months. Every group will be organized in an on-off situation, meaning that 1 week you will be working, the second week you will be staying around camp and getting to relax. This means that you will be paired up with either one of the other mercenary groups or one of the armies amongst the group. The unfortunate thing is, due to our numbers, the mercenaries will be mostly treated as our switch-ins, with the armies coming in a 3-man rotation. With that said, we're going to draw straws today to decide on who is going to serve with who for the first week." As she kind of looks about you, Eider, at Kezruk, at the elven woman, the gray elven woman, and then at the black kobold. She kind of walks over and goes, I make it fair to avoid any chance of you lot co-conspirating and planning something. Regan Utham was going to have you draw at random, but had decided instead to choose your pairings. You are welcome to speak up and go against it, but understand the Regan's word is law in this situation, and I will only hear in a respectful tone and reason for why you can't be placed together. With that being said, the first week we'll have the Black Hand and the Flock of Justice leading at our vanguard and as our scouting party. With the Pack of Smiles, she kind of corrects herself for a second and goes, my apologies. The Black Hand and the Flock of Justice will be staying on the second week as our vanguard and our scouting party. The first week will be handled by, she looks over at Eider and goes, the Unfortunate Sons and the Pack of Smiles. As she looks to between the two of you and kind of stops and goes, is there any issues with that pairing for the first week?
Just kind of like give like a look over the leader of the Pack of Smiles. I like try to think on my feet, but I can't come up with like a legal reason for it. And it's just gonna look really fucking.
She evil.
Yeah, it's just gonna look like a beta bitch move.
Like her.
Yeah.
She evil. Lawyer, Your Honor, her vibes are bad.
Her vibes just. She failed the vibe check.
Yeah. I was like
anyone named.
Good.
But just like kind of like I like weighs it over in his mind. It's like basically like thinking is like, all right, so the only chance we have of like having like anything of a decent relationship with the Black Scale, near as I can tell, is not looking like a total bitch, and that will make us look like a total bitch.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because my gut instinct is like the Black Scale is evil just because he's kind of a murderous fuckhead, which makes sense because he's a fucking mercenary. Kind of goes with the territory. She definitely reads as like actual cleric of evil god and or outsider. I don't know. Haven't seen enough of her yet. And doing it the first week seems like the safest because we're eventually going to get paired up because it's a 3-month trek. Like it doesn't seem like avoidable. So I just give a sigh and say, none. We'll hopefully find some common ground.
She nods and goes, perfect. With that in mind, I expect everything to go quite well from where we're at. She looks about the rest of the group, and you see a very irritated look on the Black Hand's kind of leader's face, the kobold kind of glaring over at Ezrak, who's not at all making any kind of contact and is kind of just smiling.
Rose met, he has the entire guild of menace with him.
She kind of turns back and goes, as for where we're going to be making camp, allow me to, Hyder's lawyer has shown up. She kind of starts circling on the map and goes, these points will be where I expect us to reach each week. We'll be making camp for a day, or for roughly the last day of the week each week. So by the 7th day, that's where we'll be set up. The expectation will be to give everyone rest, kind of take our breath in, and establish any notes that we need. We are allowed to take a slight delay if need be, but these are roughly where I expect us to be at the end of the first week for right now. The City of Night will probably take us another week, and then from there on, we don't know if it'll take more than a month to reach as far south as we're going, as the maps become less accurate south of Nighton.
DM, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So is it like the forward unit goes forward and they go to the circled points?
Nope. Whole group's going.
Okay, so it's all at once.
Yep, you're just gonna be slightly ahead at most. You're looking at maybe a half a day's grouping, like a walk ahead of the group if you're in the vanguard.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
you're
like Forward Scouts.
you
So
or
this is
there's not just forward scouts. As you look up on the board, she does have side scouts. So meaning you'll be going. There are 2 different jobs you'll be kind of rotate, or 3 different jobs you'll be rotating. Whatever army is currently in position and supposed to be in duty in that week or on duty that week, and then the other mercenary group. So the 3 what looks to be jobs are currently forward scouting, the food scouting, and then data collection. As you noted, your group has pretty much an open options, as you're kind of one of the smaller and least needed for doing the main work amongst the camp, which is why you're kind of being given more free room. As she kind of continues listing up jobs on the board for what she has available for the different groups. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And another one would be, so this is the next mission to clear out the area for a road to be built. Is
Yep.
the road going to be starting to be built behind us as we move along?
Yes. So there'll be points that you guys will be also securing. These camps are going to be locations you are to set up as supply outposts for the roads to basically start taking chunks of the army and start establishing backwards. You're going there making notes about what creatures are in the area, killing what creatures you can, and then when you get there to set up the outposts, the roads will continue to be constructed in full from there. So, in a sense, you're working at both. You're going to see the roads getting constructed behind you, but due to the slowness, you'll quickly outpace it. However, as outposts get set up, they'll start working backwards and forwards. So, this is Utham's
Nice.
way of making this as quick as possible, is creating small outpost towns. It also allows for rest points for travelers, as his expectations.
Yeah, okay, cool. I just kind of wanted to understand the logistics of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are multiple options for missions amongst it. You, like I said, while you did see groups of small other mercenaries there that weren't in the armies and such, so you won't be the only ones going out on small missions and such. You're just be giving a bigger role due to your backing, as from what you can tell. Having the Regan himself kind of putting his name along behind you is what's gotten you kind of a position at this table compared to a lot of the small mercenary groups that are outside, kind of milling about, that are unaffiliated. So, as she continues on, she points out on the map the locations for the campsites, begins to explain the expectations of setting up and securing the place for outposts to be built, with the goal of basically creating a forward camp at each of these locations, sending being able to clear out as much as you can for trees for some of the groups, and other such items as she continues going through. As she kind of finishes this, and you see the others looking about, you watch as the Black Hand member's leader kind of raises his hand, and as Burr looks over at him and kind of nods, he goes, "So, what do we get paid, and what do we gotta do when we're sitting at the forward camps? Are we allowed to, go out and do our own missions if we don't agree with any of yours? Say I want to go capture or kill something I saw." And you see as Burr kind of gives a slight glare for a moment, and she kind of nods at that and goes, "If you're planning, as I mentioned, to go sneak out and kill other mercenaries and adventurers, as the ruling from Regan Utham has been stated, if we cannot see it, there's nothing we can enforce. Adventurers disappear, we will not take accusations while on the road, which does mean to each of you leaders, let me make it clear, if you are killed, and you are far from camp, I do not care if one of your members returns telling me and gives me exact imagery of what happened. I do not have any interest in enforcing it. You lot are mercenaries and need to handle it of your own free will. I don't care if you think that this is unfair, and I don't want to hear anything of it. You're being paid better than most guards and most soldiers in this territory. You're taking on that risk." As she kind of continues through, and you see the kobold kind of smiles a toothy grin over at you, Eider, as she says this.
Bro Willie just said, "Yeah, this is against the law, but yeah, it's all right."
It's just like, if I can't see it, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just return the level stare, because I feel like this is trying to back down from a wild animal, and it's a bad idea.
She kind of continues seeing the two of you staring at each other. She kind of gives a quick cough, and his look kind of breaks from yours to pay attention once more, and she goes, While you may think this isn't the best way to go about things, understand in the wilds things happen, and this is a situation in which we're kind of defining what happens going forward. Your behavior and your achievements will be noted by the Regan, and he will decide if he wishes to allow you back in his territory. Do not think that you're going to have a free ride of this if you plan to kill those around you. The Regan learns of this, trust me. There's not a force in this world that will stop him from getting what he decides he wants. So, let me be clear. While I can't enforce, and I won't enforce outside of what I can see, what the Regan does afterwards will be on your heads. She kind of steps away from the table for a second and looks about, waiting to see if there's any comment or any question to that. And waiting for a moment, seeing none, she continues and goes, "Now, with everything out here, the map up above, you'll be each given a marking of this information so you'll know the routes. That way, in case you get lost. And as far as your payment, understand that your payment comes at the end of the mission. Of course, your upfront payment has been already provided to those who are signed, but the 11 gold per day will be provided towards the end when we reach King's End. King's End. Ugh. With that, is there any questions?" Kind of looks about each of the faces, and you see none of them seem to not say anything. Each of them kind of keep just looking about, waiting to see if anybody else raises their hand.
Can Dom raise his hand?
Of course. You see almost a slight exasperated look from the both the leader of the Pack of Smiles and the Black Hand.
Yeah. Dom doesn't seem to be causing chaos. He does genuinely wait until he's addressed and given permission to speak, and will pipe up. You mentioned the appearance of a new apex monster. Do we have any information regarding that, and how we may prepare to face that if needed? And kind of looks at the map where that was pointed out.
She mentions and kind of looks at it for a second and goes, "In simple." Kind of takes her pen and starts to look over it and goes, "You don't want to go anywhere in these areas," and I will post this for you.
Hell yeah.
This
Guys,
will be
I'm being helpful, I swear.
where the creature will pop up. As far as what it is, there's two beliefs. I'm of a third position myself, but first belief is that it's an Arctic mane that has grown quite strong. It's not uncommon in these lands to see creatures gain capability and intelligence. It's just quite unique for them to become a threat enough to scare off many of the merchants that were going through the area. Frost giants don't scare very easily. The second belief is that it is a giant bear-like creature that seems to dance and sing until its opponent suddenly managed to, from all I understand, disappear. Some have noted them turning into mists of red. Others have noted them just vanishing entirely. There's no real statement to what happens. We're unsure what the creature is, but a group of adventurers recently, I've heard, interacted with it. Someone apparently had investigated a very old snowbeard that was in the area tracking the information. I don't know, though, what came of the quest itself.
Hunter just puts on his best poker face and just kind of nods.
Right? Yep.
Totally nothing to do with this. Absolutely never heard of it.
Never heard of this before.
She just looks over at Dom and goes, "Is there anything else that you'd like to know about the creature?"
What did you say? She had a third position?
Yeah. What I was gonna ask, what's the third one?
My belief, personally, is that the creature is something far more dangerous. I'm guessing that might be a leftover of one of the Beholder hives. Though Regan states everything was killed, I can't help but worry with how many creatures were there that something escaped and has been gaining power.
Was there anything to support your hypothesis there? Any blackened marks left on the rocks or anything, sources of magic?
Giant hole where Beholder Hive was that was annihilated by the creatures isn't a mile from it.
Just kind of nod. I was I wasn't trying to She probably like was about. She's like genuinely asking, is like, did she have anything, or is she
No,
like
yeah.
a hunch?
Yeah, no, that's all she's got. She seems to just look at you flat faced.
He just kind of like nods, shrugs his shoulders, and says, "Well, it's not outside the possibility."
Yeah, all I know is I don't like it, and as far as it goes, with a hive moving like that, there's no way that they killed all of it. And if from what the numbers that Regan reported, there could be a hive mother floating about amongst their numbers, there could be a sort of beholder in their group. I wouldn't trust that this isn't one of them.
Just guys give a nod, say, we'll keep an eye out for any of the signs of an eye tyrant.
Yeah, Dom will kind of nod along to what Ike says and doesn't seem to have any more questions.
She looks about the rest of the, yeah?
I would say to restate Levito's question earlier, because I am also curious, do either of us sense any of the soul coins in the camp?
No, not at all.
Or in this specific group? Okay. I didn't think so, but wanted to clarify.
As you kind of go, or she kind of looks about you lot, and waiting and seeing that there's no other questions, she kind of kind of goes back to standing up at the front of the table and goes, "All right, we leave within the hour. Have your men ready, get them briefed, and be prepared. I expect to see combat within the moment we hit the bottom of the mountain and hit a mile outside of the city. I've been hearing rumors of ghouls and necromancers everywhere these days. Ugh."
I like pause for a moment, think about it, and like kind of like hang back after like the party or like the people disperse.
Yeah.
And try to like flag her attention down.
She kind of looks at you as they start the one by one. The mercenaries seem to kind of get up, as well as the army representatives, and seem to start leaving. You, after about a few minutes, are left there alone as each of them kind of find their way out. She kind of looks over at you, kind of waiting for you to get up, and like expectingly.
Yeah, I like clear my throat and say, "We'll keep it brief, so not to waste your time. I don't know if Regan Uthan informed you, but we found two skeleton wyvern, zombie wyvern, and a skeleton dragon. They might be in the area. I didn't want to bring it up and make a fool of myself if it had already been briefed for everybody, but given the rest of the necromancy going around, I wanted to make sure you're aware of it."
Bird just kind of narrows her eyes for a moment at you and goes, "Wait, you're that Eiter? The one the Regan was telling..." You see almost a sneer and a smile at that as she goes, "You're the numbskulls that are giving Regan nothing but head gigs. Oh."
To be fair, we just find the headaches. We don't cause them.
You have impressive work. I'm a fan. I've never seen someone manage to cause the Regan more irritation in a single hour than your lot. The first time your group was here was amazing what you did. Caused the entire town to hate you within days. I'm honestly, it was a record. Regan had more paperwork than I'd ever seen in months after that. So many complaints about it. It was beautiful. He couldn't do anything about stopping me building my dojo. I
just kind of like rubs his face like in consternation. Says, "I promise you, none of it is intentional nor targeted. We're not here to be a problem."
That was even before Ida was part of the group. That's just wild.
Well, like, since I've been here, I think it's gotten arguably a lot worse.
Yeah, first-hand accounts of
what was going on even before. Like, yeah, this party has still been a party of just fucking up.
She kind of looks at you and goes, I gotta ask, is your party also the one who's responsible for Boloff blowing up and then the city of Nighton losing all of its magic?
We had nothing to do with that.
Not as far as I know.
That was the gloom.
Interesting.
See, like I say, we just find everything that's wrong. We don't actually cause any of it.
We were a couple of days out of that town, traveling there after we got kicked out of the last whole...
Oh, I watched it. I watched you go down. You had a skinny fellow with you that got stabbed to death by what was his name? The blacksmith's father.
Yeah.
Thrum or something. She kind of like shakes her head for a second as she kind of looks at you and goes, I remember I watched you and then that Goldmaker fella. Oh man, that was a brutal fight. Two of you got downed, and I thought you were fully dead with the amount of blood that was going everywhere.
Definitely wasn't.
Dom kind of like mentally sighs with the reminder of his death experience, but doesn't outwardly express.
Definitely wasn't a good first few days in the city. That's for sure.
You lot are responsible for the West Wind Clinic blowing up, and man, I'm honestly.
By no means responsible for it.
I gotta ask, what dirt do you have on the Reagan himself to allow you lot back in the city? Because, I mean, he had threats from his own military about a potential, like, uprising if you came back.
Oh, Dom's his kid.
Dom just kind of shrugs.
She kind of looks you up and down at that and immediately kind of takes a second and goes, the Reagan had a... I knew there was... So he is backed up, That explains a lot. What? I wonder...
Adopted, but that's beside the point.
Oh!
Dom looks at you, or do you say that with certainty? And kind of flashes you a smile.
You're fired. You are a fire giant.
Part fire giant.
Okay, what's your other part, Frost?
I've also, like, explicitly heard, like, Utham say, like, adopted.
Oh, Dom's clearly just here to fuck with Burr a bit and, like, with the both of you guys. He's so in chaos.
Oh, god damn it. I'm just, it's like... I think the main reason they keep letting us back in the city is we don't, again, cause it specifically. We're just there when it happens.
I must ask, because there's a rumor at the tavern I've been looking to settle for months. There's a whole pool, in fact, on whether or not it's true. Since I heard you lot were there during the attack on the West Wind Clinic, I must ask, is it true that the Regan and the Anvil are in bed with each other?
In what way?
She kind of looks at you and raises an eyebrow. Well, I wasn't going to ask in that way, but now if you've heard something, I'm curious.
Ignore him, he's drunk.
Hey, listen, I heard, are they in bed with each other? And I was curious. I feel like, there needs to be specifics when those words are being used.
She kind of looks you up and down and goes, wait, are you the fire giant that Regan Utham's been said to be seeing on the side?
Where the hell are you hearing these rumors?
There's been a fire giantess that's been spotted. The Regan was reported to have said be marrying here soon. I thought, given your softer appearance, you were the one that he was sneaking around with. Did he get bored of you?
No, I wasn't. Well, he did try to make me a princess. That was.
So it is true.
Legally, not physically.
No.
That was.
No.
And due to a different man.
Making me a queen, not a princess.
Bert kind of looks at you with a raised eyebrow and goes,
certainly ain't a queen. I have a penis.
So it's true the Regan is interesting. That explains why he was never interested in me. I wonder, see, we got into a fight when I was young and he was so sweet and dainty at the time that I thought, maybe he wasn't really into stronger women. Maybe it was he just swung for the other team. That makes a bit more sense.
I don't know if that's true, but
I got a lot of money to make at the tavern. I was right. I finally can go.
I don't think you were right.
Well, I think it's best if we go make friends amongst all of the mercenaries. Let's.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Be on sleep in.
Be on your way. I must make a quick errand real quick. I need to go and reach out to the Regan for something.
How much gold have you bet? Just curious.
We're so fucking.
It's maybe a quarter of this expedition's value. It's fine.
Do we get a cut for giving any of this information?
know of any like actual rumors that have any? I assume all this is bullshit, right?
The general rumor around town that you've heard is that supposedly there is confirmed that Regan Utham is going to be marrying a fire giant who came from a very powerful noble clan. Unfortunately, most people in Velcomen think it is Kez, as they've described her almost identically as Kez due to the princess thing.
I am a jeweler.
Um,
Son of a merchant.
I will note, during the time that that Kez was working as a jeweler, it's been many of his customers seem to be showing up. He's had a lot of people quite interested for someone who doesn't have any notoriety amongst town as a jeweler.
Oh shit.
So Dom knows there's some weight here, but she's not quite on the dice, and so therefore is probably gonna lose all this money, and is just content to watch this happen.
You see, she kind of starts to turn and write something down and goes, you're dismissed. I must attend to some things, of course. Please
shit.
move on.
Guys, we're so fucked.
Kez
Go on,
whispers
Dom,
in
there's
your
more
ear.
spots to stir elsewhere.
You know, as they're walking away, just to sow the chaos, Dom kind of looks at Kez and is like, if you are looking to be given the rank of princess, I'm not currently engaged to anyone. And just kind of throws like a devious smirk, and it'll casually leave with Burr able to very much hear that. He's just intentionally spreading shit at this point.
And leading poor Kez on!
Kezinok will smack his ass and go.
You see as you head out, as you're heading out of the tent, as Kez does this, the slightest glance from Burr kind of catching this, and there's like a moment of like kind of a click in their mind as you kind of start to head out into the camp, kind of looking around to find any spot away from this tent. You see as Burr kind of starts to walk out after a few moments after you and heads off down the road that you saw the Regan heading up.
I go find my kin and attempt to work on the cure for stupidity by getting as drunk as possible to forget the last 20 minutes.
Hey, you didn't accept my booze meat? You don't deserve it.
Oh, don't worry. I will in a minute. I'm going straight to the source.
Yeah,
Give me that fucking jelly. I'll directly inject it into my eyeballs.
As you go to join up with the camp of the Flock of Justice, the Snowbeards seem to welcome you around their fire with as they kind of make room as a couple get up and move about, kind of welcoming you amongst their numbers. They continue to joke and jest about random things. As you hear in the distance, he said what screamed at a very loud bellow, basically deeply kind of almost ruminating amongst the entire mountain. You would recognize this voice as a very angry Utham.
I must let you say that I didn't actually say anything. I just simply said
Dom said nothing other than the end. The end part.
But Kez, there's a sudden cold shiver down your spine of danger coming towards you.
I literally said nothing to give any information, and yet here I am, the unfortunate son himself.
I just start making as much headway with making these people as loyal and allied to me as possible, and just start regaling them with stories of Big.
Give me a diplomacy check to see how well this goes for you.
Oh, diplomacy, you say. Best skill, 100%.
You got this. Hey, listen, you can't roll on that one like your cousin does.
No, I roll 17.
Yeah, as you kind of start telling the tales of like your time with Big, having seen him passing through the territory, having spoke with him a few times, and your time with him, they seem to be almost enamored in the tale. A couple of them recognizing and then suddenly realizing who you are, as they recognize you as some of the dwarves that you see, or the Snowbeards you see amongst the number, were part of his original, or a part of his little monk order that he had built up from the siege. Many of them looking very muscled and very capable now, as each of them seem to bear a actual, what looks to be a bear's paw, though it's not hard to tell. It looks to be made instead of actually like cut off of a bear. The creature, each of them kind of seem to gather on the table. You catch most of the officers' attention, catching the mercenaries' company's interest in you quite well. As Ned kind of steps away to take the goslings about the grass. You can hear and feel the rumbling on the ground as he's not running, but slightly stomping towards you through the mercenaries who are making very good way for the very slightly red-faced Regan as he's kind of storming over towards you. Having just been asked if he is sleeping with the tiny fire giant young man from the group known as the Unfortunate Sons, and that Burr was ecstatic for his wedding coming up and was planning to already had an idea for a gift, which would go into a lot of explicit details that Regan Utham you were not happy or comfortable with. But as you come storming through, you see the lot kind of sitting around a fire pit, a mercenary group of snowbeards eating at meat and kind of relaxing. If you'd like to say anything, I know you're on mute, so.
Oh, hey, Utham.
I just stare at Ned and I just nod to Ned because I got no bad things about Ned.
What did I do?
I stare at Eider.
I just I do my best impression of being entirely deafened up and so about big.
The officers all shake their heads. No.
I just say to Eider, I expected better.
Look, you couldn't rein them in either. It's not like it's my fault.
Now, Dom, why are you allowing rumors that I am not only gay, but that I'm sleeping with Kesnanock?
Dom, has a look now that
really
showed
happy
up
about
of,
this either.
a guilty kid, but he also looks not as phased, and he just puts his hand up and he's like, My Reagan, I did not feel it important to correct the leader of the expedition who speaks on your behalf. The semantics of faceless rumors I'm sure most would know to be false. If you would like me to defend your honor more violently, do tell. And kind of flexes his hands a bit.
You not only did not reject the rumor, you let the rumor go when I am soon to be married to a noble.
They also think that I'm the noble you're the marrying. I really appreciate that wouldn't happen anymore.
I attempted to...
Ned is just gnawing on a piece of bread watching.
I don't know if you know me, I don't know politics well. I didn't know if this engagement was secret or not. It seemed bad to let it slip. I keep all of the things I know hush-hush. It kind of looks a little bit more guilty now that he's being scolded, but it's still like, hey, I didn't do anything. I was just there.
Have you ever known a frost giant to be able to keep a secret? As I just look around at any frost nearby.
There are guards, you can see guards whispering, you can see Burr's already, and you can hear Burr actively pointing to, saying and pointing to Kez, saying, the two of them, that's the princess that Utham is marrying.
And Burr! I have paperwork for you. We have things to write out.
You see as she goes pale as she kind of says this, looking over at you for a moment and kind of suddenly stands up straight, kind of straightens her posture, puffs out her chest a little bit and goes, I am, unfortunately, suddenly, very busy with, assisting, young Kesnanock, as she kind of looks over at Kez, with a little glare and goes, with, making sure that his mission is ready to go, and he had asked for personal lessons on how to fight amongst the warriors, and it's only as you...
I sure didn't. I sure did not.
I see. You have paperwork to do, and you're going to apologize to my fiance for these rumors you're allowing to spread. You'll get back for the expedition, don't you worry.
Hey, you don't have. She doesn't have to apologize to me, Uther.
I stare.
I'm the biggest shit-eating Brit ever.
So Dom moves away physically, so if Utham swings his scythe or his fist, I'm out of range.
Oh no. You see Utham like a bull scratch his foot against floor as he's looking at Kez.
Kez?
Yeah.
And Tom just kind of whispers and looks at you, and it's just like, I know you are drunk, but perhaps now's the time to sober up. As Dom's slowly moving away over towards Ned and Eider, like away. He's seen this look before. He's not gonna be in the fire.
Man, people just don't know good comedy. Everybody's a critic.
Hey,
It's a
Kez, how
living.
big are your tits?
What?
None. You want to feel them?
There, you see, there's a few of the snowbeards amongst the crowd that's kind of gathered. That kind of, there's a couple that seem to be whispering. One of them seems to nod as he's looking over at Kez.
I mean, they're flat, but you can touch them if you want.
I just like turned to my fellow snowbeards, just like, no more beer for him, please.
Granted, you can't even reach them.
That boy just ain't right. Boy just ain't
Oh.
Now come along, Burr. You have to speak to Miss Blom. We have much to discuss.
That's how you get out of a really horrible situation alive.
As you start walking towards her, you see she is looking around for any sort of thing to grab hold of, any person to kind of distract her.
No way.
You kind of see she kind of looks over at the Kazasi, the Black Hand, who's about 10 feet from her, and kind of leans over and picks him up, and she goes, "He was planning to kill you," and throws him at you as she turns and starts running away.
I not only catch him, I start chasing her with him in my hand.
Give me a reflex. Give me a reflex check for it.
You know, the thing is that the fact that if this is true, the fact that she knew and didn't immediately go to tell Utham.
Exactly. So this guy's gonna go for trial. He'll be a little busy for a little bit. What's my plus to reflex? Oh, just a plus 27. Okay. Let's see. I rolled an 18. So that totals a 45.
45. You do catch him, but as you see, she turns to move and starts turning. She is wrapping her hands as she is doing so. I will say she's got a movement speed of 60. I don't remember what Utham's movement speed is.
We're the same speed.
So since she is ahead of you, the two of you will be on a chase for a good minute as they seem to dissipate into the streets, disappearing. In the background, these sounds of moments later can be heard of what sounds like battle as almost the ground begins to rumble around. You can hear swinging kind of going off. Yes? Wait.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was you. Oh, okay. I was like, wait, I heard someone. As you can hear the sounds of the impacts of some flesh on flesh going in the distant streets, it seems to be loud enough to rattle the entirety of the mountain. As the Snowbeards and Mitch of the Mercenary Company kind of stands almost in awkward silence for a moment as this kind of display happens. There's a few moments, and then the chattering begins to pick back up as the Snowbeard officers look about your crew and go, "I don't think she's going to be back for before we have to leave. We may, I think we can drink a bit more, gentlemen." As they start to call for orders of more meat and the drinks to be poured.
I was just watching the chaos. Who was the figure she threw? And claimed was trying to kill Uther?
The black kobold in adamantine armor.
That's what I thought.
Aha! No longer our
Watching him
problem.
get carried off.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Dom just has this look of seeing Utham grab a guy as it's thrown, mid-sprint chase down the super fast woman. It's very much a clear look of admiration of I want to be like that when I grow up. Just that kind of look of
Alright.
and we'll resume celebrations with the group.
Yeah, as you kind of look on with a smile on your face, relaxing as you kind of begin to eat and drink and enjoy yourselves. Let me check something. All right. As kind of the start to see much of the mercenary campus starts to pack up about after another hour or two of kind of relaxing and enjoying themselves. The clear vision of Burr coming down, a few bruises across her face, a bit of a swollen eye, but she seems to be still wearing her hands all wrapped up and looks to be coming back down the street ready to go. She has a backpack on full of what looks to be kind of items and such assorted. You do notice behind her is a figure that almost immediately catches your guys' attention as you recognize a very unique individual, the very short and very long-haired Zilpip himself, who seems to be coming up behind.
Oh no.
As he comes down through the crowd, he kind of smiles as he does so, kind of immediately recognizing the lot of you. You see he is carrying what looks to be a vial in each hand, looking straight at you, Eider.
Just give a wave and say, "Ah, I take it you finished the order."
He just kind of gives you a wink as he kind of like seems to be more looking than kind of focusing his eyes of looking at over at Kez and then looking back to you and then smiling again as he kind of shoves a bottle of or a vial of alchemist acid into your hand as well as a canister into your hands.
Just kind of like look the canister up and down. Is like, what on earth is this?
You have not yet, Zopip, being locked away in your lab up in the school.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you're just coming down because you heard about the expedition leaving, and wanted to check it out. Assumedly, knowing that Eider would have been here due to the order he had put in with you. As he wishes you all well, he kind of looks at all of you, ignoring your question entirely, Eider, as you ask about the canister. He as he kind of smiles as he does so, he gives a kind of a slight bow and a wink towards Kaz and turns and starts to walk back up towards the street, back towards the academy. Not seeing anything else.
Can't get a read on that guy. He's so weird.
Man of many words.
It's hard when he often wears a mask, admittedly.
Yeah, even sometimes when he talks, it just kind of sounds real rough. And Ned just has his hand over his mouth.
That's a good impression, Ned. You did a great job.
Alright, as you guys kind of like watch him. Yes, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna be I'm gonna have a few drinks before we start walking.
Alright. As you continue going about it, you see as the mercenaries and adventurers start to kind of put on their packs. You do see you guys start to hear the order to move out, and people start to begin to march, following after what you can clearly see as a towering Burr over much of the crowd. The Black Kobold seems to kind of catch up towards the back of the group, full adamantine still on, looking as if he is cut up. There is blood, but as you kind of get a quick glance at him, Kez, most of the blood is not his. As you get a last glance down the road, you see what looks to be a frost giant guard in black armor that is completely torn to shreds. As the Black Kobold seems to almost blend into the crowd and vanish amongst the mercenaries.
Guys, I think we have to watch out for that, the leader of the Black Hand. Just a hunch.
The guy who clearly wants to kill Aether, if not all of us, and is clearly working towards some goal independent of the expedition? No. I only get good feelings about him.
Oh, well, it's okay to be wrong, Dom, but, I also give a smirk after that.
Yeah, Dom's like, don't you know, people like him, they just are misunderstood. They look scary, but inside, I'm sure, a soft, tender heart.
Ned, I'm sure if you went to ask him for a hug, he'd give it to you. Don't actually do that.
Oh, he would love you within range of a hug. Very, very good and kind of makes a gesture of like stabbing someone in the back and kind of because
I just gotta walk over to like the Justice Flock and like start asking if there's any like terminal diseases that cause like almost idiotic levels of sarcasm in the recipient before they die.
You do see a few of them seem to actually take you seriously. And start like pulling out little books and like going through like papyrus like notes upon papyrus and kind of looking about and like, no, not that one, no, not that. It's never lupus, no, not that. As they kind of pop through that, but as they continue, you watch as the mercenary company slowly makes its way down the cliffside, very steep stairs. Many of the mercenaries and adventurers kind of having to almost climb down rather than being able to step down, as the length and difference in leg like height for frost giants compared to most races is so vast, and these stairs were not designed for the other races. It takes about almost 4 hours to get most of the mercenaries and the army down to the bottom of the mountain. Now, my question for your party is, would you guys want to be staying at the front of this group, or are you going to be planning to stay at the back?
middle.
I was about to say middle's good.
Middle's good.
Okay.
Clearly, we were offered 2 options, therefore we go with the one that wasn't.
All right, so the center where the command
No.
is? Okay. I mean, that's fine if that's your choice.
I mean, at least
What,
that gives us a good, like, equal amount of time to get to any front in case something attacks from the front or the back.
I was more specifically thinking, being in like closer to command puts us in more and more danger if what's his face just wants to try and attack us in the middle of camp without. I want to make it as risky as possible for him to just try and kill us.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah,
That's-
being
yeah, I
closer
also
to
agree.
the command tent where there's going to be more sentries and a second sentry line set up. It's quite a good idea. All right, as you guys kind of find yourselves kind of finding Burr in the crowd, and then looking for where her supply and group are kind of setting up. You find the group of not uncapable nobles, but a little bit fresher faced. Many of them looking like they haven't seen battle yet. Many of them wearing brand new armor that seems to be shining and gleaming in silver. Untested yet, and almost immediately, without even a roll either, it doesn't take you much to realize how thin and how easy silver is to squish. And you don't see magic runes or anything special about most of these sets of armor on these young nobles. As you kind of watch this. But as they stay to the center, just for your own note, go ahead.
I do try and like warn them and help them like maintain their gear on the way. It's just like, yeah, this is gonna come through. Like, I try to do my best to like help instruct them as much as
to be
possible.
fair-
It probably does nothing, but
You know
I
what?
don't feel good about just not doing anything.
Yeah, give me
Turn
a...
the sword around that the guy's holding backwards. You know.
Yeah, showing him it's the pointy end, not the stump,
Honestly,
the handle.
I'm so close to be like, hey, big boys, if you get any of that armor dented when you're out there fighting on the field of battle, why don't you come to my friend Ader over here? He'll fix you right up. I'll be there, I promise. Maybe clean up some of your jewelry.
Kez is over. I mean,
I'm so
hey,
close.
Kez, give me a bluff check if you want to run it. Or actually, you know, I'll take a perform. I'll take a perform for it.
I'm better with bluff.
Okay. As Eider, also give me a diplomacy for the nobles.
28.
Alright.
28.
Give me that nat one.
Oh my god. Alright, 14 and 20. Alright. Though the nobles don't seem to really listen at all either, it seems that Kez gets immediately most of their attention, and you've got customers for life, it looks like, as many of them just seem to take their armor off and just hand it to you. As they seem to follow along. You see rings being taken off and being pushed over to Kez. Little bits of jewelry that they're tearing off and kind of just shoving. Kez, you've got like a mountain of like pieces of gold, and this shit's heavy.
Yeah, after all that said and done, I smack Ader on the back like, that's how you get customers.
I just look so confused. Like, no, I just didn't want them to die. I don't want their money.
No,
now you got
we
both.
can take both. Yeah, Dom kind of looks approvingly at Kez like, Kez, I think I think this side of you is good. I think we should continue with this line of thought.
I violently disagree.
Kez and Eider, give me both a profession for your smithing for Eider and your jewelry making or jeweler.
Profession jeweler.
Yep. See how much money you make off this. Oh, okay. That's a good roll for a little bit. Or for Eider.
No, it's not. It's a 6.
Oh, that's a 6. Oh, I saw a 20.
23 on the jewels.
23. So, Kez, you managed to snag about 40,000 gold pieces from these guys. Eider, on the armor, you get about 35k from them that they're willing to pay you for just making sure their armor is reinforced with some copper lining. That really should have taken you only about 1,000 gold to do. There's about 5 nobles. These lot do not seem to care at all about their money as they are throwing it around.
They're just like standing there slack on. It's like, these people are just gonna fucking die. 35, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, was it 30 or 35?
Oh my gosh.
35.
That's crazy. Dom is just like, he's been the party's accountant, so he's just seen all the funds coming in, and he's just like suddenly going through like the little notes he has for the party's like funds, and it's just like, he looks excited about this. He's like, no. This is unfortunate for their bank accounts, but in terms of our funding, my friends, this is phenomenal.
This is huge.
I will say, each
this
of these
is
nobles
great.
seem to have a small squad of Vikinger around, like that are following around that don't seem to care at all what you guys are doing. They just seem to be kind of watching the perimeter. And they're a little bit more battle tested as you kind of see them.
Can Dom lean over to some of the Vikinger and go, like, just suddenly, like, you know, if their armor were to get a little damaged from being left out in the rain on accident or other things, and they came in to get repairs for us, I mean, I would be willing to split some of the profits with someone who might, you know, accidentally leave some of it out. Just like very casually speaking as if to air, but very clearly at them, trying to persuade them to like let the nobles get their shit fucked so they have to come to us for repairs.
Give me a persuasion or a diplomacy check on this. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Don't ruin this for us, Dom. We have something good going right here.
I mean, someone could give me a help action if they want. Lynette, you've not chimed in yet.
That guy's Gosling's watching this. I know they're not evil, but man, they ain't good.
I'm not sure you would want Ned helping in this situation.
Why not?
Ned's got his joint in his hand.
Well, you know, it's only the finest of metals that'll steal all your powers.
That's true. Ned doesn't like metal. That's something to kind of put out there, you know. They're chaotic. Their first religion is dumb. Their religion is dumb. Eider's having a conniption fit in his head right now.
Oh no.
His inner dialogue in the chat.
Give me the help action. Ned, you don't want to give me the assist?
No, come on, Dom. What do you got? What do you got, Dom? Come on, let's see.
So total, I got a 7.
The
rolled.
The Vikinger
on the
just
die.
kind of lean into you and go, I couldn't give 2 damns what the whelps do. My job is just to make sure they get from point A to point B without a scratch on them.
That is fair. Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
Back over to the group.
You see a heavy...
A little bit sympathetic.
You know what, Dom, I like the spirit. I really...
You have never seen a
You
more
know, there's a
poignant.
lot to
Yeah.
You've never seen a more poignant look of depression on Eider's face.
Guys, I'm not the
Ken-
party
Ken
anymore.
says
I don't
that-
have to be responsible.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you have to be a gremlin.
Lawful good to chaotic good, I think.
No, listen.
I think Ken's
We're all good.
All right.
Hey,
Join
listen.
us.
We listen. We got enough money to hold us over for a minute.
As the ship... Oh, you just trying to give up on the expedition, turn back, and be like, no, we're good now. Yeah, we're going to go home now.
Yeah, fuck this. We make more money here than we did the entire expedition.
Shit, guys, we can
do something
retire.
else.
You're finding out what Saturday learned real quick. But as you lot begin, you are told kind of as the camp or the first day comes to an end, kind of reaching the edge of the it's not a town. It would be too early to call it a settlement, but you see about 6 houses at the bottom of the hill of Velcomen that are kind of set up, and many of them having druids in them with, what you can see for clearly is a mass amount of farmland that is beginning to have water kind of flowing through it, but the still glimmer of silver is still clearly seen amongst the water as it shimmers past. As the first day goes pretty much unbothered as you guys kind of are able to work on the road, working on the armor and jewelry of these individuals, kind of just keeping on the eye of everything. Dom and Ned, give me I'll take either spot or search, depending on how active you feel you'd be focusing on the edges, and a listen check. Which I know again.
Definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Dom's definitely, now that the joking's over, is kind of becoming more serious and is taking that scouting, like paying attention, like on guard duty he usually takes.
Yep.
So
Spot 12. Oh, all right. Ned's got like the green herbs he kind of pulled out of his bag, or his bag of herbing as he calls it. It's just really a leather bag that has a couple of plants that he keeps inside. He kind of rolls it up, begins kind of like grinding it in his hands. As you see, the heavy calluses allow him to tear up the plant pretty comfortably. As he then puts it into some rolled up papyrus and starts to kind of smoke it. For some reason, though, yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry, continue.
Somehow, though, with his Spot being completely distracted, his listening, as he seems to be almost on like a paranoid concern as he expects some creature to pop out. He seems to be like focusing in as Ned looks about. 22 for Spot, 19 for listen. All right, with that. Right, as he becomes Daredevil, basically. Yeah, yeah, basically. As Ned, you begin to hear and listen to the forest itself, the sound of the wind blowing, the snow kind of crunching under everyone's feet, the trees kind of moving about. Something on the first day. It's weird. There's every once in a while there's sounds like a group of people off to the distant on your left side, kind of to the west of the convoy or of this army. It's just you haven't seen any groups go out that direction. So though again you haven't been really paying attention most of the day as you kind of think about it. You roughly hear about 6 people in the rough area off to about half a mile, maybe a mile from to your left in that direction or to the west. Dom, as with a 22 and 19. Every once in a while, Dom, you can't help but notice there's a shadow off to the side that kind of just catches your eye out of the corner of your vision to cause you to look over and then seems to be gone. But as you seem to finally catch it on the last time when you finally really notice, you catch the of what looks to be 6 figures, somewhat humanoid and short-looking. You'd guess to be maybe elves, maybe it could be snowbeards given the height of them. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can count roughly 6 of the creatures seemingly disappearing almost as quickly as they're spotted.
Does it seem like, looking around to see if I see any evidence, does it seem like they are physically there but are using some form of invisibility magic, or do they seem spectral and almost spirit-like? Like, do I see any tracks or evidence of disturbance in the environment?
You do notice tracks on the snow from where the creatures seem to land, but there seem to be few and far between.
Do I notice Dom looking in the direction?
Yeah, Dom seems to be looking in the same direction that you're kind of like your ears keep picking up things.
You noticed it too, huh?
The fact that you are also seeing what I might be seeing is a thing of concern.
I'm not seeing anything but colors right now, but I did hear.
You see Ned's eyes are red.
I mean, I sure hope you're seeing colors.
Oh, Tom kind of does a double take, and it's just like, it enhances your hearing. Good to know. Do you hear about 6 figures to our left?
I think that's about as many feet as I heard stepping. Some voices as well, but I don't really know what they said.
Uh, would I have heard earlier in our like gossiping, like us trying to gather information while we approach the convoy? The group that the Pack of Smiles like killed, like prevented from joining, they say how many strong that mercenary group was?
Um, no, but there was a clear marking of the on when you guys were in the meeting of the mercenary groups that were supposed to be there. Their name was the the Metal Brand Mercenary Company, and it was led by a man by the name of Besseric. Besseric Metal Brand. The crew, roughly from the number, was listed as about 235 to 250 members.
Okay.
And for the Pack of Smiles, mentioning for your question, there was only 30 members of them.
Okay. So probably not that group, but would this, because of the party's previous like experience at the beginning of the campaign, would Dom be able to know if this seems to be how the Gloom move, like their skills with stealth and invisibility? Does this seem akin more to that then?
The only thing that you get, I'd say you would have gathered from that between you and Kez, you, Kez, and Ned from that. Well, just you and Ned kind of thinking about it for a second, discussing it in background. I would say that you would realize back in the day, back in that point, they attacked as a massive unit, but they attacked the cities. They were attacking specific targets, not armies. They never attacked large groups. So if the fact that this group, if they are attacking an army this size with only 6 members, either they are extremely capable, and this army is nothing to them, or there's way more numbers than it looks, because it doesn't seem that Gloom, from your knowledge, ever go in without a assured victory.
Yeah, I do recall that. Okay. Can I like subtly, without like alerting too many people around us, make gestures to kind of draw Kez and Eider closer in, kind of like a huddle?
Yeah, as you kind of bring them over. I mean, the midday or around midday-ish, yeah, you guys would be kind of coming to a slower point as much of the army would start to kind of begin to start doing its job. So, yeah, definitely as you kind of gather together, working a bit on the armor and jewelry as all 4 of you kind of are able to gather around your wagon for a few moments.
Yeah, just kind of like shuffle up and say, "All right, what's the matter?"
I have concerning theories, but he kind of just like nods head towards Ned. I spotted some shadowy figures coming in and out of sight to the west. Ned has confirmed he has heard the same amount of people with his keen hearing. I'm thinking we're being followed, and I don't think they're friendly. They're leaving very few tracks, which means either they are magically drifting or teleporting, or they are incredibly good at covering their path, and therefore likely assassins. And he's kind of keeping his tone low and glancing around just to see if anyone else seems to be noticing, like if Burr seems to have caught anything, or if we're the only ones.
Burr is far to the front of the army and has not come back this far at all.
Okay.
If I might put my opinion out there, if they are what you might be insinuating, I don't think he would have heard them at all. I mean, maybe they got sloppy. Maybe they're new blood. But if they are what I'm thinking you're trying to say, it might be something else. And I hope it's something else.
My other guess, if not our friends from long ago and from Sir's last hold, I think more of our recent friends might perhaps be responsible. I don't know magic enough to know what they're using, but it's shadowy and it's cloaking their presence, and that doesn't exactly sing about clerical or good magic, and he kind of does a light air quotes.
Or like perks up, like starts like you can see like the like the cogs in the back of his head, like he's about to go into some real nerd shit. Pauses, shakes his head, and says, yeah, "Never mind. I mean, let's go tell Burr. The information's
Try
not useful unless it's spread around."
to be subtle when we approach. I worry that one of our suspicious allies might be involved with this. And his eyes kind of dart to wherever the Black Hand and Pack of Smiles are, specifically the Pack of Smiles because they look like magic casters.
They are, they are both at the front of the this large like army. The Pack of Smiles is harder to pick up because being that there's only 30 members, the only reason they kind of catch the eyes because all of them seem to be wearing cloaks. None of them wear heavy armor or really any armor that you can see, keeping their faces covered for the most part as they do so. They aren't easy to spot because they kind of intertwine themselves amongst the front of the army. However, the Black Hand pretty much marches almost in its own cohesion. You can now see it seems to be led properly by their leader that you had seen kind of earlier, who has cleaned himself up and seems to be kind of giving marching orders as he holds a large rod up in the air and seems to be kind of like giving almost a light tune for marching to a cadence, if you will. But if you guys as you guys are heading up, kind of pushing through the crowd, as the wagon kind of starts to push through, many of the troops kind of move aside, not really bothered by you lot. With the spot and listen check from earlier, it seems that the figures on the western end of the army, it seems to kind of dissipate as you stop noticing or seeing signs of them. The sounds kind of vanishing almost completely. The further you get up, you do notice as the army stops kind of moving aside for you as you come into more Black Hand members than like proper troops. What the fuck is that? Sorry, I think someone was driving a lawnmower going 60 down the freeway out there. And I do mean like an actual lawnmower. Yeah, that was the smallest engine I've ever seen running. I don't know what that was. But as you kind of push through, Eider, your evil sense is going off everywhere around you, and it's mixing from faint to strong, but doesn't seem to go above that. As you kind of push your way through the Black Hand, like mercenaries, you kind of at first seem to be a little annoyed, but as the wolf kind of makes itself known, many of them seem to kind of catch the attention of the wolf kind of towering over them and move to the side and out of the way as you push through, coming to a small encircled group at the front where you see kind of in the middle of this large group of the Black Hand themselves, a group of monks all wearing heavy geese that look to be made of what almost immediately you can't clock as dragon scales. As well as Burr in the center of it, who seems to be smiling about as she looks around the army, kind of finally noticing you as she looks back and goes, if it isn't the lover and a man who got me a black eye. Well worth it, though. I've never seen the Regan that angry before. It was, she kind of gives a smile, 2 teeth missing. Clearly that had been knocked out. She goes, I haven't seen him that spicy in a long time. It's good to see he's got some backbone still. What can I do you lot for, though? I see you made it all the way from the middle of where the nobles are kind of hanging out. Them kids are Viking nobility. Regan Utham keeps them around mostly because they've got storm giant blood and keeps them keeps the storm giants from messing with our territory.
Yeah, just like Ryder can't help but like let out a dwarven curse, and just like straightens up and forces a smile and says, potential news, I'm afraid. And if you're at all familiar with us, you know what that means.
She sighs and goes, Regan warned me that you lot were about as good news as a pickle on rye in these days. If I may ask, is it necessary you ruin my day today?
It would be better to tell you now than have it spring up in your bathtub.
And you can't deal with it?
I shake my head and say, it's elusive.
Just sounds like a can't-do attitude. That's what we need amongst our mercenaries. Alright, well, Regan said that you guys were worth your weight in gold. Given the size of you, young Eider, I can't help but wonder if the Regan was making a joke of it. Feel free. What's the bad news?
I just kind of glance at Dob, glance back to her and just kind of sigh as I
Them or him?
figures on the outskirts of the camp. Dom spotted them, not confirmed. Seems we're being tracked.
Shadowy. Yeah, Dom kind of sees the glance and will help Eider in supply. Shadowy, elusive, leave few to no tracks, are likely using magic or other means to hide them following. I believe they're likely assassins and they probably have a specific target. Felt the need to mention it given he kind of glances back towards the nobles and also looks at like some of the leaders of the mercenary groups. There's a lot of people who could be targets. And looks back at us.
May I ask? This might be the dumbest question I've ever had to have asked, so maybe I'm overthinking this, but did you see the job board that mentioned that we would have scouts and troops along the sides of our armies to make sure that nothing would attack our sides while we were moving?
Yes. Leader of ours still felt it a need to mention in case they weren't our scouts. And kind of looks at Eider to take the lead again because Tom wasn't the one who suggested doing this.
I just kind of nods
Mm-hmm.
and says, "Look, worst case scenario, we look like idiots. Worst case scenario, we look like idiots. Best case, it's an actual threat. There's no point in just hiding it just because I don't want to look like an idiot when there's lives at stake."
You're more practical than I was led to believe. It's quite kind of you to tell me this, but do understand, a group of 6 is not going to take out our mercenary army here. I don't know if you've counted the numbers of nearly 1,000 troops amongst us, but 6 who can be caught so easily by those of your rank, and I mean no disrespect by this, but do understand that you're equivalent to one of my guardsmen around amongst this number. I hold you highly for your ranking with the Regan himself, but in position of combat experience, you must understand you are quite lacking.
Understand.
My concern is they are intentionally letting them be spotted by us.
Or they're scouts that are doing
alone.
their job to not caring if we see them. Did the nobles or Vikinger that you traveled in the center with react or do anything?
Did they? I believe you said they didn't, right?
Correct.
No. Again, I'm not certain they were after us, but you have to understand if Utham's relayed sensitive information to you, and he kind of glances around at the company. We have extra reason to be cautious. The people who want our heads, 6 of them would be enough to cause damage. And kind of looks at Eider, who's not only wanted by the Cataclysm, but also has a bounty, and kind of just regards him.
Eider just kind of shrugs and says, it's not combat strength that's necessarily the worry either. To spoil food and water isn't, a difficult spell by any means.
You lot fear too much. We run with an army. The Regans put me in charge. If he was concerned about us being attacked this early on, he would have made it clear. And the army is fine, and they're probably just nothing but scouts. Go back to your job with either the babysitting with those noblemen's, or go find yourself something to do with my courtier who will assign you work.
Just give kind of a nod and say, "All right." Just wanted to make sure in case it wasn't notable. I'll go back to her coterie to do like actual work because it is giving me a headache to work with these fucking nobles.
Alright. As you kind of back up a little bit and kind of fall in with most of the main army that's kind of behind the Black Hand, do any of you, I mean, before you leave, do any of you have anything else to say to Burr, or any of you, the rest of you pop up or speak up? No? Alright. As you kind of start to slowly slow your pace down, kind of falling back, you see is where the main group of her troops seem to be, of her personal kind of court of you see what looks to be very young versions of herself, other woodwalkers that are pretty easy to distinguish. They seem to be talking pretty kindly, and most of them seemingly kind of paying attention about the situation right now. But as you guys continue on, the rest of the day, first day of marching is almost uneventful as you finish up, kind of coming to a camp as the army comes to a stop around 8 in the evening. A storm starting to pick up overhead as a light snow is starting to pour down. I will ask, because I don't think anybody did. Did anyone think to buy a tent?
I have a bedroll. It came with
The
my
cart.
If I'm
I
correct,
thought
the cart is covered.
It is covered. Are you all going to sleep in
Yeah.
the cart together then, I assume?
Slumber party.
Sausage
Hey,
party.
I mean,
Well,
that's
you know,
also true.
I'm
We'll
used
get
to
nice and
sleeping in
cozy,
nature.
Share a body warm.
I was saying, Ned, you're used to sleeping in nature. You're not used to sleeping under snow hitting you and getting buried under said snow, which will compact slowly overnight.
He's gonna sleep underneath the cart.
You are not a husky. I hate to tell Ned this, but it is something he needs to understand. He is not a dog. He cannot just sleep in the snow.
I can. Probably.
I was just saying,
Let me ask you
and
something.
Eider
The
is
same
hot,
question.
he likes to sleep
If you
outside.
get stuck under the snow and it compacts and you can no longer get out, how do you plan to breathe? I am curious.
Well, I can breathe fire.
That's true, but you've seen how deep the snow gets. I'm just putting this as a
Make an
practicality.
igloo.
Oh god damn it.
No. Joking aside, fuck that. I sleep in the cart as well with everybody. The cart is lucky as balls, so it's likely to not even get a speck of snow on us.
I was gonna say the cart is lucky, and therefore I assumed we would be taking shelter within it.
Alright. As you lot kind of gather up, the camp is set up, fires are kind of set, mercenaries kind of setting out their watch as the sentries begin going out and about. You lot have yet been to be assigned anything, as you kind of begin to get your own little fire going, cooking up some rations and getting them ready to go as you kind of watch the many mercenaries kind of group up and trying to stay warm as the snow starts to fall. I will note immediately, yes, as you look over, snowflakes seem to come down towards the cart and like about 5 feet away, all around it, seems to almost get pushed off to the side, creating an almost invisible like shield, keeping it from getting wet at all.
Heck yeah. This
Uh,
cart's so lucky.
Since we haven't been assigned a specific duty, I'll like make myself busy, like going around helping some of like the smaller mercenary companies.
Okay.
That way, I don't want us to like earn a reputation of being lazy fucks that don't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you get left in the lurch.
Okay. Yeah, as you go about helping, give me, we'll just call it a diplomacy to make it easy.
Can Dom assist?
Sure.
Because Dom would also want to stay productive. So Dom will like see Eider going to do things, know that they don't need to pitch a tent because they have the cart, and will just like follow along to assist. And
Okay.
also, I don't want our leader to be unattended.
Okay.
It's bad. He's got a bounty.
Kez, what about you? Are you gonna stay at the cart, enjoy the fire, and work on the jewelry?
Yeah, I gotta
Okay.
do the. Yeah, I got a job to do.
Okay. I was gonna say you do see that Eider leaves the armor off to the side, kind of piled up to ready to be worked on, but seems to walk off with
So lazy.
with Dom to go talk. As you see them kind of socializing amongst the mercenaries.
Man.
All right. What about you, Ned? Are you going to stay at the camp, or did you have anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'll stay at the camp and kind of watch over the cart.
Okay. kind of hang out with the goslings who seem to kind of enjoy the fire, staring at it. Every once in a while you see as they kind of seem to go fetch sticks from underneath the snow to toss into the fire to make it bigger. I will note, as they are grabbing it in their mouth, they are drying these sticks as they run over with them in their mouth, and then kind of tossing them to cause the fire to ignite quicker. But as
I would give them all a treat.
oh, they line up almost immediately as you do so, seemingly clamoring for it. As they seem to kind of smile and like cuddle up next to Ned after getting tired of bringing sticks together. Kez continuing to work at his jewelry, enjoying the gleam. Eider with a 3.
I don't.
And a little bit with, yeah, I was gonna say, so with Dom's help, you can either take the advantage, which is +2, or I'll let you reroll for it to see if you can get better. But if you do worse, I'll make you take the worst one. So,
Well, there's only 2 numbers that it could be worse on. So.
That's true. Odds are in your favor.
Yeah.
Hey. Dead even.
As you kind of go about the camp, trying to offer help, many of the mercenaries and much of the professional soldiers seem to kind of be hesitant towards you and Dom. Many of them kind of eyeing you up as kind of a potential threat, or as someone who's got trying to check out their gear. It seems to be a common thing that you hear whispered amongst a few of them as you walk away, as they refuse your help. You're not well received, but there's a good few of them that seem to take you up on the offer, that don't seem too annoyed, though they do seem to kind of watch you and Dom kind of warily. You get the sense amongst the crowd, due to Dom's natural paranoia, the mercenaries aren't taking a great liking to you, but there's not a hatred at all that seems to be amongst them. There's no tension between you and the lot. It just doesn't seem like there's any interest.
Yep. It's the first day, like crabby from walking. Makes sense.
Yeah, you do also notice many of the those who aren't as experienced are kind of pulling off their boots, like armored boots, and seeing like the very large blisters, as many of them look to be in a lot of pain. So, so a lot of these mercenaries, while capable, don't seem to be the type who are going out deep into the open land. So
yeah, there's a big difference between marching all day and being like a sellsword.
Mm-hmm. Especially around the territories where you can just kind of sit on a cart and, just follow along rather than having to walk. So as many of these guys are realizing as they don't have a cart. I will say, Kez, it doesn't take much to realize that your cart is definitely being eyed up, not as an immediate threat that you're catching on to, but there's definitely a bit of envy amongst some of the crowd nearby that have been following near you as they take off their boots and wince at the pain. You see buckets of water being handed out amongst the crowd. But as kind of Dom and Eider make their way back to the rest of you, kind of gathering around the fire. You do kind of sit down. I imagine at this point, Eider, you begin to kind of finish up working on more of the armor.
Yeah, I'll gesture at Kez and say, if you had anything you want to do. Sorry we left you in the lurch, but if you want to make friends or mingle, feel free. We'll take care of the cart.
I already talked to the flock. That's all I really need to know.
As you say flock, you hear a voice behind you, Kez, go, "And you didn't talk to little old me." As a shadowy figure kind of pops up from behind Kez, as almost the dark shadow that was cast from the fire almost unnaturally kind of created this bigger shadow of Kez than he already is, given Kez still a pretty decently large individual. With that in mind, the creature kind of pops off. Person kind of pops off to the side, taking down her hood, and you see the gray-skinned, pointy-eared, long white-haired elven woman from the mercenary meeting, the leader of the Pack of Smiles. That, as you recall back, the name written on the board was the name the Harbinger Valthana. And yes, I will spell that, or I will write that out for you.
Well, would have there been a reason for us to come say hello?
She kind of walks around you and takes a seat on an open log near Ned, and kind of looking at the gosling, she kind of hands Ned a chunk of what looks to be sweetbread to feed to the goslings, as she kind of tries to pet one, and it kind of pulls away and hisses at her.
It's like, no, stay away from me.
Kind of hiding, again, not like hiding, but like going between Ned's legs as they kind of gather together. The largest of them kind of staring at her and not looking away. She kind of pulls her finger away. As she sits down and looks over at you, though, to respond, she goes, "Well, it did disappoint me. I figured you'd want to meet someone of interest, and given I'm most interesting. I mean, 30 members of a mercenary group. The rumors that I killed a bunch of mercenaries out by myself. Oh, and then she holds up the horn in her hand and goes, a dream larva skeleton horn. Most people consider me interesting."
I just thought you liked music.
I do. I'm a very big fan of horn blowing, but I have no real talent for it. As she kind of smiles at Ned.
Now that she's like directly in front of us, can I like look this thing over and see is it like actually magically imbued, or is it just like a normal weapon? Like
her horn?
Yeah.
Give me a spellcraft check.
Deal.
Or
Is
knowledge
there-
arcana. I'll take either. Yep, go ahead.
A check I could make, like Arcana or otherwise, that if she is or has the energy of Jakix, like I remember when he revealed himself, there was mentions of like some kind of fiendish energy that he had like released, like when we were all trapped in that one building. Is there any of that here?
You are not a caster, and she is not giving off a natural aura of her own. So, no, you don't catch that immediately.
Figure.
23 for knowledge arcana. As you kind of take a second to think and look at this thing's definitely magical. You've seen items similar to this in your family's vaults. They were known as artifacts, though they were so powerful that when used, they would take the individual's life as the exchange for such a great power. Supposedly, though, these horns, when made from very powerful creatures, could summon armies of your ancestors, basically to fight as berserking ragers at your command. The only issue, again, as I mentioned, is the horn. These horns are most notorious for taking the life of the user of them because of the fact of how much magic it drains to use one. The stronger, of course, the creature that this item is made into or made from, the even bigger cost and, of course, larger group would be noted to be summoned.
Gotcha. Of course, yeah. I suppose that cost wouldn't necessarily be all that bad if you were, say, undead.
There's no note of an undead having carried it. There is supposedly a lich that had once tried to use an item that was of a great worm, like a bone from a great worm, and supposedly it stole his life essence and destroyed the phylactery. It's one of the supposed ways of killing liches, though there's no true fact, and the writer of this was noted as a madman amongst the collective.
I mean, to be fair, if she was a malicious undead, my shield would be glowing.
That is true.
Fair point. I did forget that you've got that upgrade now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a pretty sick-ass shield, by the way, guys.
Yeah. I helped.
Heck
That was
yeah.
right.
She is not undead in the slightest.
Yeah.
Thank God, I was thinking because life force, the easiest way to get
Yeah,
around
because
that
you imagine,
typically
no,
by the way,
undead.
suddenly your shield starts to glow.
I just want to note, when I state light force, I usually, what I mean is hit dice. Every creature has hit dice, regardless. It's just how much of that hit dice will be taken permanently.
Gotcha.
So, yep. So yeah, in this case, she kind of looks down at you and smiles and goes, "If that doesn't interest you, I don't know what could. I mean, I guess I could disrobe and do a dance," but she kind of looks over at Kez. She kind of smiles and she goes, "I imagine you're way more requested than I am."
Well, it's about time I put it to advantage.
I just kind of like sniggers in the background for a second. It's like,
Kez also will snicker as well.
I guess the better question at the moment is, why do you want our interest if you've got so many admirers?
Well, I mean, I plan to kill everyone who's in control of this little mercenary group, watch it fall apart. see the Regan into an early grave, and generally destroy the world. I figured that would spark your interest, and I was told by my god that you were somewhat of a hero, a problem, an obstacle, but I'm gonna be honest. She kind of looks at each of you, and stops on the goslings and kind of goes to go pet one again, and as it hisses and pulls, like tries to bite her finger, she pulls away quite quickly and goes, I don't think you lot are much of a threat to me. You're much weaker than than my what my cohort told me. He said you'd be some threat and danger, and she kind of looks at Kez and then to Ned again and goes, I think these are the only two I could consider scary.
When she looks at Ned, he just waves.
She seems to kind of give a smile at that and goes, I mean, he's adorable. And she kind of like points to Ned and goes, how could you be some threat to me? I just don't understand it. So I've sat down and I want you to explain to me why you don't think of me as your problem and why you're not doing anything about it. She waits for the awkward pause and goes, are you really guided by no gods or anything?
I'm guided by nature.
You mean, and she kind of leans down to the grass and kind of like pets it and goes, so if I did this and you watch as the grass withers and dies in her hands, does that inspire something?
I mean, discomfort, I suppose. Like, if I walked into your church and peed on a Bible, it might make you a little uncomfortable.
She kind of, takes a second, and just to keep Ida up, she basically just admitted she's planning to kill everyone in this mercenary company, and that that the person she is working with had declared you guys a threat as well as her god, to kind of catch you up roughly. Oh, and she's gonna kill Regan Utham, make this entire thing fall apart, and bring the end of the world. Yeah, basically. She kind of looks at you, Ned, and goes, I just don't understand you. Not even answering your comment at all, and just kind of looks back and goes, you won't attack? Wait, here. She kind of looks over at one of the mercenaries that's starting to walk by and kind of grabs hold of his leg as she leans back, and she kind of looks down and kind of like tries to shoo her off and says something. You watch as his whole body starts to thin. His eyes kind of sucking into the back of his skull. His flesh kind of deflating and turning to a very pale color as he just collapses almost into nothing. And she kind of leans back up. Oh, all right.
She can't just like go around immediately trying to kill people.
Okay.
The underlying concern was, we would immediately get prosecuted.
Roll.
But she's just killed someone in front of me.
Roll me an initiative. Each of you, because she didn't even give Ned a chance. Like, yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, Ida, you'll get the surprise round, of course, but 15. Okay. I didn't think. Let's see. Alright, let me pull up this. Alright, we got 9. Oh, Ned, the ganja is not helping, is it? The grass.
He's crying
Ned
about
was
the
not
dead breath.
expecting a
He's
fight.
distracted.
Ned was not expecting. That's fair, Ned. Dom for 17. Okay. And Kez?
11.
11. Not bad. Alright. Okay. Let me pull up something. I just want to make sure I've got my list up. Alright. As you're up first, Ida, you're going for the attack, so let's see what you got.
Yeah. I like try and like smack her hand away from the guy that she's like fucking currently sucking the life out of.
Go ahead. Yeah. As making an attack, try and grab her. Are you
I'm trying to.
Okay, just knock it away.
No, I'm just gonna like cut her fucking hand or
Oh,
like
okay.
just chunk axe.
All right. Let's see what you got.
Don't fuck me now. I'm having such a good time. I have a 1 now. All right, next turn.
Ah, all right. With a 6 to hit.
Yeah, I rolled that one.
That hurts. Do you want to roll it again for me, real quick, just to confirm?
18.
Okay, so nothing major. Oh my god. Well, with her bonus, I just barely squeak ahead of Dom. Okay. Holy shit, Dom. Wait, Dom. Actually, I do not. Dom, what is your Dex bonus?
My dex bonus?
Yes.
My dex bonus is a +3. I got total 17.
Okay, so she does go first. Alright, cool. Alright. Alright.
Oh, a +3 dex, have we?
She tied with you for initiative, so she has a higher initiative than you. Or a higher dex bonus than you.
Noted.
As she goes, she is going to just smile at you. And as she does, she's going to waste a spell and cast Dancing Lights as you watch little lanterns begin to glow kind of around you, either different, kind of in different colors, one blue, one green, one red, and one yellow. And as they just start to glow, she just kind of smiles at you, continuing to sit there as she continues to drain away at the guy, watching as the last of his health seems to dissipate into her hand. She ends her turn. Dom, you are up. As she's still sitting there, Dom, you're about 10 feet from her on the other side of the fire.
I recalled we were explicitly remaining close to Burr's encampment in case of stuff like this. How far is Burr and her group from where we are posted? Like, setting the camp.
Right?
Yeah, you guys only fell back a little bit. She's about 150 feet north of you, where you can see the large tent is already kind of set up. There's a good amount of tents in between you and the central command tent, so it's there's no exact line of sight though for them, from what you can tell.
Has anyone else started to notice this happening?
Give me a search check.
Are we? Yeah, for sure. Because this is going to dictate what my next course of action is. That will be a 10.
As you look about, no one seems to notice or care. Even the other, 5 feet behind where she's sitting, another little group of mercenaries have set up their fire, and have logs up. They don't even seem to notice you guys moving about and seem to be eating. As they there's one that can clearly see you lot, and is talking casually with his friend while this is going on.
Okay, can I make? I hate to say. Because there isn't an insight in third edition. What would I have to roll to determine whether or not there's a magical illusion, or if this is is she blocking this with an illusion, or is all of this an illusion? Is this in our heads, or is this happening and she's hiding it? Because clearly we're being obstructed from view.
You could try moving about behind around you. No, it's basically if there's an illusion spell, you'd have to interact with it as far as it goes to be able to tell it.
Can I? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because Eider didn't manage to hit her. How close is she to Dom?
About 10 feet in front of you.
Reach. Oh yeah, I've got a 10-foot reach. Can Dom, kind of sussing up the situation, I don't know if this would be an item interaction. Can I touch the guy and see if he's real?
The guy that's on the ground behind her?
The guy did she finish sucking the life out of him, or was he currently in her?
No,
in her grasp?
he is behind her though, so you'll have to. It's 15 feet from you. But you can give me a heal check or a profession medicine. However, that will count as an action if you want to see if he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think Dom will then, I don't know, again, if this would count as an action or just a free voice thing, but Dom will just like, to cover our bases, will speak up in a voice that's not like screaming, but is definitely loud enough to carry. Basically, Valthana of the Pact of Smiles, you have allegedly taken the life of a man. If you are choosing to engage with us, let it be known you attacked first. Blood is on your hands. We are defending. And I will go to attempt to punch her because that's a monk and that's what I do.
Okay.
And I will use my soul warp strike because I think it would work against her. So, would this shouting like a free thing, or is that?
Yeah,
count
I'd
as
say
an
the
action?
free thing. Yeah.
Cool. Then I shall get 2 attacks. Huzzah! First attack will probably not hit. That is only a 9.
9 does not hit.
Yeah. It was just a fake. It was just a fake out.
Yeah, just a quick
false
jab. Yep.
Just a quick jab. Just a quick jab.
Gotcha. Fooled you.
Second one is also a 9. Just another fake jab. I'm keeping her occupied, guys.
She has not moved at all from her seat.
I'm
She's
testing.
just sitting there looking at you.
Tom's testing to see if she's real, is completely missing her. It's like, she's gotta be fake. Yeah, so nothing happens. I do still have movement. I will move then towards the guy that's behind her and effectively attempt to give my... Oh, no, wait, I used 2 actions. Can't move.
Yep, can't move.
Ignore me. I'm
Yep.
dumb.
No worries, you're good.
So that was, yeah.
You're good.
Listen, it's been a while since I got to do things in combat. I suddenly feel very overwhelmed after the level up.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry.
Yes, that's all I could do.
All right.
So Dom has alerted people. I've thrown my fake out punches, but I've not landed any hits. And I'm here.
I will note for those who keep track of this, after the level up for what Dom realized in between sessions is that they were 1 level behind the rest of the party the entire session. So we had to fix that. So just noting, the party did not level up in between sessions. All right, Dom, as you kind of take your 2 jabs swinging at them, her not even kind of taking her eyes off of the target that is Eider as she kind of avoided his first attack. She seems to move her head forward and backwards, almost naturally, as if not noticing you as you watch your punches go and miss each time. She seems to not even look your direction as you step past and around her. I will mention, actually no, never mind. As you walk over towards the body and see it standing, or sitting down, or laying and slumped over on itself down beneath you, it looks to be real at first look, without a check. But as you end your turn, Eider, you're up. Welcome back.
Oh no, I've been here this whole time. And it's just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like this at all.
Yeah. She hasn't moved, and she's only cast low-end spells and just put dancing lights around you as if she thinks of you as no threat.
Yeah, this is definitely a trap.
I'll walk up to the guy, and I'll make eye contact with her and heal him.
She doesn't seem to react in the slightest. Go ahead and roll your heal.
I just heals a flat amount of HP. I'll give him 10.
All
I'll
right.
give him 5 spell levels worth, so he gets 10 HP left back.
As you watch him heal, you see it for a second. The body's the kind of flesh that was sunken in begins to expand. Some of the color comes back to the cheek. The body does not move, and as you kind of nudge it with your foot, no response seems to come.
Gotcha. Well, that's unfortunate. Second verse, same as the first. I don't want to use the thing just yet, so sticking to the axe.
That's smart. 12?
She's sitting down. Is she technically prone?
No, not at all.
My fucking Christ.
As you go to
Dice.
swing, you feel as your axe comes down, and you just see as her hand kind of lightly pushes it to the side as it slams down next to her into the log. And she just continues, not breaking eye contact with you this entire time, watching as the lights dance around your head.
God bless. I don't suppose are my allies flanking? 14 hit.
Even with the Dom, or you cannot flank this her because of one of her feats.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute, I've got improved uncanny dodge. Does that help?
Oh, does that count against? Let me look. I don't remember.
I think improved uncanny
Wait,
dodge
no,
is
it doesn't,
used
'cause
for
it's-
being flanked.
Yeah, my bad. I'm
It doesn't-
remembering
Thinking the Pathfinder
effect.
one.
No, I'm remembering the effect, and it's
Oh.
like a rogue that's like 4 levels above you.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fucking rogue, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. Hey, 4th level rogue, man, you got this.
Yeah, we're certainly not a 4th level rogue.
All right. As you kind
We
of like
could become a
stare
fourth
at
level
your
rogue.
ex, pulling it out and like glaring at her, like the irritation in your face as she seems to smile at this and seems to be kind of almost like trying to hold back a chuckle as she lets you pull your axe free, not bothering to attack or respond. As you finish your turn, Kez, you're up.
I
will say, you still have your jewelry in your hand. You're still sitting on the other side of the fire from her. Which puts you 10 feet from her.
I will not do anything.
Okay. You're just gonna
I
sit
will
there?
continue. I'm going to continue to clean this jewelry.
As you kind of don't just continue polishing away, looking up at the fight and just going back to looking at the jewelry, you feel, as the rest of you see, Valthana's glare turns, her eyes glowing red as she's glaring at Kesnanok. All right, Kez, as you end your turn, Ned.
I don't think she likes being ignored, guys.
You are 5 feet from her, sitting right
think
next to her. She is now looking at Kez with a hatred in her eyes as she is sitting on this stool, or on this log. What would you like to do?
Out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
is my spear glowing?
Your spear is of a warning, right?
Well, it glows around necromancers.
It is not glowing.
Well, we've ruled both of those options out of being undead and being an necromancer.
Kez is suddenly even less interested as he sees this.
Honestly, like, the rules were laid out for Ned, having been part of groves and whatnot. Rules have to be followed. Ned's not gonna fight another.
She just kind of turns to you, and you see there is now a magical aura you are beginning to all feel that is now faint without any checks. She is starting to give off conjuration as well as divination.
She stares back. I give, like, that little finger wave.
The fury in her eyes, Ned, is palpable, but you can't tell. She looks just like it's another day. All right, as you end your turn, she is up.
Any spellcraft to see what kind of spell it is?
That.
Yeah.
Giving off.
Well, it's just an aura right now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is just her what magic she seems to be most proficient, or she is giving off naturally.
Gotcha. I assumed that she was doing, like, herself being there was an illusion.
Nope. That's a good question. She is going to look over at, looking over at Ned. She is going to cast. Give me a moment to find my spell. There we go. As you, what the hell? Why did it do that? Go. Nope. Give me a minute. Apologies, technical difficulties, gentlemen. One moment. If I can get my thing to go all the way down. There we go. As each of you, I need a. Oh, actually, never mind. I don't need a will save. Oh no, it's only one living creature. All right, she is going to step up and smack Ned and Kez right on the right cheek as she almost with open palm hits you. It does no damage, and she's not actually making an attack. As she does this, both of you must. Yeah.
She does still technically need to cast defensively.
I'm checking something though. The spell is actually hold up. Oh no, Kez and Ned, do you know Abyssal?
I don't think so. Let me see.
I doubt it.
No.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
Well, unfortunately, this quest doesn't, or this spell doesn't do anything because you don't know the language for it.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
She can't cast in common. As she speaks out, you hear this strange tongue of like that kind of catches on. It sounds almost like infernal. At first, as you hear the like tinge of fire kind of coming out of every word, though it seems to have a deeper tone and almost seems to resonate within you both. But as soon as it does, it dissipates just as quickly. She just kind of stares and goes. She looks over at Eider and and then looks to Dom and Ander and goes. You lot, what did you cast on them? As she ends. Go ahead.
Something more powerful than your god can even cast.
Give me a bluff check.
I am not bluffing technically.
All right, I'll tell you. I'll give you a diplomacy for it. Let's see if you
Bestowed
can.
upon them at birth.
Alagbo's protection isn't as light as he may think.
15.
We may be unfortunate, but fortune is in our name.
I'm gonna roll something for a second. She kind of looks at you for a second and goes, You're backed by Regan Utham. Are you? She kind of looks over at Kez and goes, No. And there's a clear realization, like a switch on moment, as she seems to now ready as she pulls out a small lute and begins to play. That ends her turn. Dom.
And we got silent.
Oh, she's playing a lute. Would be a shame if something were to happen to that lute. Let me check a thing real quick that I know I can do, but I need to remember exactly how to do it. Okay, I need to find. Yes, I believe it's Sunder. I can use basically a attack of mine to knock or damage an item or weapon they're holding. Am I correct in that?
You damage it, yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Could I use that to grab, or would that be a different?
That's disarm. It's
maneuver.
Yeah, it is disarmed. It is different. Yep.
Oh, let me find disarm then.
It technically works the same way.
It does.
Listen, I want to be specific. I'm not
it just
trying
provokes
to break
an
a move
attack.
That probably can't be broken. I'm attempting to take.
It does provoke an attack of opportunity from them, so just as a heads up, unless you have improved disarm.
Well, it does if she's wielding a weapon. She doesn't seem to be.
That's true. The lute is not a weapon.
Well,
she
unless
isn't.
a spell would count.
Well, unless she has improved unarmed.
She does not.
Yeah, then she's not trained in.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Then technically you're right. There is no attack of opportunity. So. Makes an opposed attack roll.
It says we make opposed rolls with our respective weapons. I don't know what she rolls if she doesn't have a weapon.
No, she takes some negative. No, it's a negative that she takes. I think it's -4.
Wielder of a light weapon takes a -4.
Yep.
If larger combatant gets a bonus on the attack roll of +4 per size difference, so I believe I would get a +4 on this.
She is medium,
Because
yeah.
I'm
So
large.
yep, that is a +4, and she does get her minus because of that for this. Oh, that's a 10.
Well, I have gotten a 24 plus a 4, so a 28 to grab this thing.
As you
Guys, I'm
grab
doing
hold
something
of it,
useful.
I need you to make a will save.
Oh yeah, this is definitely gonna fuck me up, but if it fucks up her shit, I'll consider it a win, my friend. Is this a magic from the enchant? I believe it's the enchantment. My monk level up gave me +2
Yes.
against saves from like, I think. Okay, then yeah, I'll get a +2.
Or
on
wait,
this
no,
thing.
no, this is not, because this does not count as an enchantment. Never mind. Nope. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I forgot for 3.5 rules on how these certain items work, so.
Oh, good. Would not matter. I rolled dog shit 8. I
Okay.
have it. It's gonna fuck me over. Listen,
you,
I'm already obsessed with coins. It's fine.
You are suddenly almost driven to begin to attack and kill anything that is evil and lawful. Anything especially that is lawful evil has an almost outright hatred for you right now. As this begins to put you into almost a rage-like mentality to seek it out.
Well, this might be an issue.
I have a question.
Yeah, so do I. So Ned, Kez, and Eider, by chance, are any of you lawful evil or lawful?
I am neutral good.
Okay.
I am lawful
Neutral good.
You're lawful good? Oh. Kez!
Okay. Oh. I think she's closer, to be fair, but...
She is not lawful evil.
Well, is she lawful?
Oh.
Or evil?
She is,
Oh, never mind, no, yeah.
She is not evil from what you already gathered.
I thought you said she was very evil.
I said that her aura, the aura she gave off. Oh wait, no, yeah, you are correct. Never mind. I'm looking at my notes. Yep, you are right. She is coming off as evil. So you do. Never mind. I'm wrong. You do suddenly feel a need, Dom, to strike at both Kez and this bard equally.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, you're an enemy. So, do you
however,
see Dom
as you-
expertly...
I will note, as
go
you
ahead.
take her loot, that does activate the one held action she has, as part of her legendary, or one of her legendary setups, and she immediately disappears in a cloud of smoke, vanishing. As you watch the body that was there a moment ago that had collapsed disappear, the sudden area around you kind of breaking apart and cracking to show the real groups of mercenaries walking about, completely ignoring you, not even having noticed anything had happened.
Does Dom
I
still
knew it
have
was an
the
illusion.
loot?
Dom does still have the loot.
Is Dom still affected by this nefarious spell?
Dom is still affected by this nefarious spell.
Ah, shit.
So, everyone's, like, celebrating. Dom expertly steals it like a snake striking, picks it up, and then an expression comes over his face, and he turns to Kez, and I'm gonna say, because I have to move towards you, everyone's gonna see Dom is winding up a punch with one hand, loot in the other, and is going for fucking Kez.
Alright, time to practice fight. I wink at everybody.
I think disarm is an action, and I would have to move to him. So if we're still in combat, I can't punch him, but
Correct.
I will be moving up in his grill if we're still in combat.
As Kez, you're sitting there working on your jewelry, not really paying attention to anything. You see as Dom rushes up to you, like a loot in one hand, fist in the other, ready to punch you. As you start to look up. All right, Dom, as you end your turn, Eider. Give me, either a spot check, because I imagine you're more focused on the fact that Dom's about to, punch, Kez.
18.
You do notice there's a kind of a larger figure running over towards you. What looks to be a female orc-like figure that is quite white and wearing a leather or heavy leather armor, as well as carrying a big iron pan, seems to be coming towards you, lot rushing almost with panic on their face.
Oh shit! It's Longnose's wife.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Da-da-da.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do my best to try and disarm Dom. It doesn't really help. I don't have a great fucking time trying to do this, but hey.
All right.
I
was gonna say this will provoke Dom's attack of opportunity, so
it does. But
yeah.
fortunately, Dom has a hard time hitting me.
Yeah, that's true. So Dom, go
Don't
ahead
say
and
that,
roll.
buddy, because the dice will give me luck if it means fucking my party over.
Is the person allowed to choose if they take their attack?
Wait.
Yes, they have to take it in this case because it's a hostile action.
Yeah, I do get a -4, I believe, because unarmed strikes are considered a light weapon, right? Or no, not the attack of opportunity, the opposed rolls. Never mind.
Yep.
So I rolled normal.
Yep.
This is... Nat 1 plus 5, 6.
Oh shit!
I fucking miss.
Alright.
I
You
gotta
have to roll again though,
for the
since it
nat
was still an
1.
attack.
I'm gonna punch myself to death.
Fucking Christ.
A 2! I'm 2
Oh.
plus 5,
Ooh, ooh, that's a
Guys.
close one.
That was so cool. I almost killed myself with a punch.
Well,
because
remember,
of the
we don't kill ourselves with
Nope.
from anymore. We just seriously injure ourselves.
Oh, I almost gave myself a permanent fucked up eye.
As you go to attack, you watch as Dom seems to react and seems to swing wide of you as you are kind of slightly offended as the hand goes at chest level for Dom, and which goes over your head clearly without you having to really do anything as you watch it go. There's a slight moment of fuck you for the small joke, but at the same time a blessing of you didn't just get backhanded as you step forward to grab the loot. Alright. You have a +4, I believe, for I think it's just a normal. Yeah, it's just normal
A
4.
plus? I think I have a +8 for size difference, but a -4 for my fist, so I think I still get a +4 to my opposed roll.
Eider's medium.
Yeah, dwarves aren't small.
Yeah, so it's a +4, and then you still got the minus
Cool.
as far as this goes, so it'd just be your flat.
So yeah, regular roll.
Yep, same way.
You are lucky, my friend.
Alright, let's see what you got, Eider.
The arms of the angels fly away.
Is that a 9?
How the fuck do I keep on beeping this? Good God.
Because Beyond 20 hates everyone.
No
You
shit.
don't move, you can act again.
I've started using app, right? That's true, but Dom, what's your roll?
I got a 12, so just barely.
It fails as you try to go to grab the loot from their hand. You watch as Dom kind of shoves you away with ease, pulling it back. I'm just checking something. Oh. Okay. Never mind. I'm wrong. All right. I want to make sure that you didn't have to make another disarm check. As you lot kind of continue as this kind of Dom pulls away the loot. Eider, you have not moved. Do you want to try one more time?
Yep.
All right. 23. All right.
That's much better.
I will say, Dom, you got 2 rolls first. You got to make the initial attack of opportunity.
Well, they only get 1 attack of opportunity unless they've got combat reflexes.
Oh, that's correct. You're right. Never mind. Then it's just a 1 roll. So give me the D20 plus your base. You got this, Dom.
I love this dice in this one instance only. 10, folks! You heard it here at home. That's 10 total.
Eider, as you pull away the loot, give me a will save.
Oh no.
I don't suppose I can eat this.
Potato.
It is not a magical ability. This is a creature's natural ability. This is not spell-like either.
Gotcha. Well, that's a 13, so...
Oh no.
Eider. What's your alignment?
Neutral good.
You begin to feel a slight pull to go and hit Kez. As though the battle has stopped, you do not feel a rage induced into your mind. Though a slight dislike of Kez seems to ebb at your mind. Not you personally, but you can feel the emotion continuing.
Gotcha. Is it like a curse effect where I don't know what's going on, or is
Correct.
it very okay?
Do I still
Dom
talk
might
about
know,
Dom,
though.
or is Dom cool now?
Dom is kind of twisted, turned, and looking down, looking over at Eider. Eider seems to now have the loot in hand and doesn't seem to look over at you, or doesn't seem to turn back to you, Kez.
I highly recommend we throw that loot into the fire. Or far away from this place. Or burn it far away from this place.
Which do the partner businesses rely on?
I couldn't quite make out what you said because we got like background noise from Ned.
Burn the loot, throw the loot away, or burn the loot far away.
As Kez kind of looks at the loot and kind of looks at you, waiting to see what you're going to do with it.
I just like have like my visible annoyance with Kez and say, "Really, a man was dying, right? I'm done with you for now." I just kind of like storm away.
As you begin to walk away, leaving the camp, you watch Dom.
Wasn't real.
Go ahead, Dom.
What's Dom's mental state? Because I don't want Eider to go off alone, but I don't know if Dom's still
You have
hyped up on whatever that was.
You have come out of this daze, from what you could tell. From what you could tell, from what happened from your perspective, is you went into almost a blank slate. You didn't recall anything after you took the loot.
Like a little fugue state.
Oh, okay. So Dom is like fully disoriented, can't intervene with what Eider's doing or assist. So he's just like looking around, like, where is she? Where did she go? The body. It was fake, wasn't it? I knew it was fucking fake.
Hey Dom, it looks like you're back to the land of the living.
Did I die?
Not really. We'll just ask you.
Only if Diane was wanting to punch Kaz in the face.
Listen, it's not the first time somebody's wanted to do that to me. Eider started acting weird. Started acting weird after he took that loot from you. I don't know if you could maybe convince him to like get rid of it, burn it, something of that nature, because it looks like he's not too fond of me right now.
Did he leave? Did you guys let him go off on his own after we were just attacked?
You're pointing the direction that Eider walked off in.
He's right there. I got gems to claim.
Eider, give me a spot check.
Oh, yeah,
Starting to think I don't need the loot.
I just barely. Eider, you suddenly feel that dislike for Kez that was ebbing at the back of your mind begin to ebb away and dissipate. As you look down your hand, loot's gone.
Yeah, just start cursing even more. Just a different target now.
As you kind of look down and annoyed, looking about, trying to find, you look back and see your group, Dom looking on, concerned in your direction, Kez continuing to polish at some gems. I imagine Ned's still kind of feeding the goslings. As you look about the camp, you see no figures, no nothing, but it's clear someone or something came back and took it from you as you were storming off and distracted with your anger with Kez.
As soon as he comes back, I'll be like,
well, does Eider come back?
I like kind of call out to Dom. I was like, yep, we've got to report this.
Dom kind of throws a look at like Kez and Ned, who were like completely unaffected by that fight and seemed completely unaffected by the implications of it, and kind of he doesn't like glare or scowl, but he like gives like just a long silent look, neutral face as he like comes to, and then just kind of nods and will go with Ryder, and as he's leaving, we'll just idly comment, "Keep watch while we're gone." And Ryder sees a little bit of an eye roll, just kind of like telling Dom's fed up with all of this. Just this entire situation we find ourselves in.
As you head up to the head of the camp to explain the situation and tell Burr about what happened, she listens to you and listens to your explanation on what happened, kind of hearing a bit about the body, looking into the no reports of finding anyone dead or missing. She doesn't seem to really take anything of what you say serious, and the few mercenaries that are called to the front tent as they're requested one by one to confirm what you guys saw in the attack, they seem to completely refute it, saying that they didn't see you lot do anything other than sit around eating and working upon some metal and some jewelry. Barr seems almost kind of unamused by you lot, as no one seems willing to come forth and speak on your behalf as she hears about this. Now, my question is, you tell her about the artifact, of the item that you guys had found, the one that you seem to have some sort of will save to it.
Yeah, that's like the important bit to tell her about, I think.
Yeah.
Because like her being nefarious, she can fuck with everybody, but like her having an artifact and having the horn potentially are
Okay.
And that it disappeared.
I'm gonna roll something for Burr.
Dom can even explain that he only vaguely recalls what happens, but it seems to have prevented his memory, which would be very concerning for an artifact.
Okay, as you guys kind of lay bare everything about what happened and walk through it, you see as Burr kind of nods along, and again, as she requests the confirmation from soldiers being left outside and waiting and attending, none seem to confirm what you speak of. And as Valthana is called forth, Burr kind of finally waits until she does show herself. You see as she has what looks to be Ned and Kez standing beside her, smiling and laughing as she walks in, joking. Kez and Ned, you yourselves back at camp, enjoying, relaxing, working by the fire as you enjoy the meat that you're kind of tearing at. As you two kind of see, as you see Kez and Ned kind of enter behind Valthana, she looks at you both and looks at Burr, and as Burr kind of explains the same thing, reporting exactly what you said to her, word for word, Valthana just kind of looks over at you and then looks over at Kez and Ned and smiles and goes, "Did you agree? Did this happen? I mean, they state you were there." And they both shake their head no, and almost in confusion, sounding exactly as if they were the exact people. As she looks back at you, or as Valthana looks back at both Eider and Domlander and goes, "Is there a problem?"
Why don't you keep our party members here, and Burr sends a third-party neutral member to go check our camp for the party members we left there, just to be safe. We wouldn't want to falsely accuse you, but someone could have taken your image or other people's images, and kind of glares at the fake members of our party. Just to be completely neutral, you never know with magic users. And smiles with a smile that's clearly too sharp to be genuine.
That's fucked. That's so fucked.
Yeah, guys, we split the party.
I mean, hey, you wanted to leave us.
Well, y'all just sat and just watched.
Hey, you said, "Hey, Dom, come on over."
Whatever.
You did specifically call me out. That's true.
I was pissed at Kez still.
Not after you got out of it.
I was still pissed at you for watching a man die, supposedly, and go, "Man, not my business."
You watch as Burge kind of looks at you and goes,
I'd like to walk through the illusion and just kind of gobble the magic real fast.
As you step forward, you watch as you step in and you watch the bodies kind of suck into you, and Valthana just kind of smiles at you with a glimmer in her eye and goes, It's too late. You can have them. As you watch the spell suck into Eider, you see Dom almost immediately as you look over at Burr, the eyes of Burr kind of glaze over. And Burr kind of looks at you, Dom, and goes, I think it's best that you two go on your way, as I see your compatriots confirmed what Valthana had said. I think you need to stay away from this mercenary group and stop trying to stir up trouble, even with Regan's backing. I won't support you again if you come to me with false allegations. As Burr kind of
Dom's
like...
just gonna kind of...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Go.
so Dom's just kind of look at Valthana and is... Again, there's a look in his eyes that seems off, like a little bit non-human, but he just doesn't look at Burr, but will regard her comment with, of course, you know how it is with mercenaries and paranoia and alcohol, things stir. We'll be more mindful next time. And the whole time he's just looking at Valthana and is completely sizing her up and is just disregarding Burr because Burr at this point is just a pawn and he does not care.
Give me an appraise check.
An appraise check! Yay!
Or if you have profession
I
mercenary.
to be... I think I have...
Or soldier.
I have profession monster slayer or profession squire, but...
I'll take squire in this case, sure.
Cool.
Let's see if you think you could take this person in a one-on-one duel.
21 for sizing her up.
As you look her up and down, she doesn't physically look that intimidating. She's average for an elf in height and shape and weight. There's nothing physically intimidating about her. What's strange is she's walking around this camp and telling you her plans. She's either extremely cocky or she's very capable. The fact that you already know she's carrying a weapon that was able to cause you to lose your basically any sort of memory for like a few minutes adds to a bit of your concern that this individual may be more capable than she's leading on. Also, it's kind of strange that she only cast Dancing Light around Eider and didn't use an actually dangerous spell on any of you when she was clearly being attacked.
Oh, yeah. I could tell she's playing with food. I'm just trying to sense where her motives... I guess should sense motive, but I feel like I know her motive is to harm us, but I don't know what she gets from laying it out to us other than, like, personal pleasure. So Dom's just kind of, like, eyeing her over...
Mm-hmm.
And kind of standing his ground. I think he'll even look at her and just go, I know this is fun for you, so you're not going to stop, but you said it yourselves. We're not on your level. We're not going to stop or interfere with your plans. You can chew your food, you can spit it out, you can toy with it, but you run this camp. I don't know what you want from us. I don't engage in fights that are suicide, and kind of shrugs a bit to kind of see what kind of reaction that will get out of her.
She kind of looks over at Kez, who's kind of standing there, a little fuller, or not Kez, sorry, Eider, and kind of then looks over at you again and gives a wicked smile, and she goes, You're not a fan of the stories in the slightest. The hero meets the villain overpowers them, throws them down a hole that they can't climb out of, and they show all of the world that they can, and that all by good and moral kindness that you can save everything. Don't you want to be that grand hero? Kill someone like Oat, the grand evil dragon, as she seems to stare at you at that mention.
Do I come across as a hero from fairy tales? And Dom kind of is chuckling. I'm a weapon. I'm wielded by those who have their own motives and are the masters of their craft. I'm a tool. I do not seek destruction and ruin, but I'm no optimist. I am not naive or innocent. The world, if you want to become our rival and have us overcome you as heroes, sure. Fun for you, but anyone with reason knows the world doesn't work like that.
She looks over at Eider and kind of at that mention and goes, "Are you no hero either?"
I'm just gonna like stare at her for a moment and just kind of shake my head and shrug and say, "I do what needs to be done."
I'm disappointed, and he was right. I don't like to play with my food if it's not going to play along, so here's what I'm going to do. She kind of pulls out a set of, or a bag, and kind of opens it up and goes, "We're all going to take something from this bag, and whoever gets the best of what comes out of this, by my determination, will decide what happens and who walks out of this room. If you don't want to play my game, well, let's just say your friend Kez would be very unfortunate to find his god suddenly in trouble and you all on a forced situation to the plains of death. So, how about we play?" As she kind of holds out the heavy leather bag.
How do you fancy your luck, Eider?
What, nobody's gonna sense motive that?
Kez and Ned.
Do you guys want me to? Because I feel like I get made fun of for it, but I will
that's bullshit.
Hey, do what you think your character is going to do. Yeah. I will say, Kez and Ned, at this point, you are starting to notice they've been gone for a little bit.
You think they're still mad at me for not
could I disarm the bag?
Just steal the bag. I was like, "We've got the entire bag. We have everything
I stole
valuable."
your loot. I can steal your bag.
Oh my god.
Yeah, do you think they're still mad at me for not jumping at their immediate beck and call?
I don't know. They seemed a little sensitive about everything.
Should we go on him? What do you think?
I mean, they did go to like the main tent or near the main tent. But if you feel that we should,
Well, if anything, I should at least apologize if I don't do it.
As Kez kind of stands up, sighing. Ned, are you going to stay with the card, I assume? Or are you following?
I will hesitantly come along.
Okay. Hootie will stay behind and stay on the lucky wagon.
Who's got a World War II helmet on with a 1,000-yard stare?
As you lot kind of head over, you kind of catch a glance of the tent and see a somewhat tall figure kind of standing there. A very thick cloak coming over them, but what catches your attention immediately, Kez and Ned, is both of you see strange black tentacles clearly coming out of the cloak and going in towards the tent as you start to head over, I assume at a faster pace seeing this.
Yeah, something seems, that doesn't seem right.
As we jump back over...
I will, as of course, going in, will be casting protection from evil on myself.
Okay. As we jump back over to Eider and Dom, as she holds out this bag and looks at you, she waits with a smile.
Dom looks at Eider, who's the leader of the group, technically.
I give
Any...
Dom like the hardest like look I can. I make to like reach into the bag. And I'd like to try and shoot her in the chest.
Wait, what? With your spell footer to the bag?
Yeah. Pretend I'm reaching and then just
grab the bag if need be, or like attack her.
Okay. How much spellfire are you gonna unleash? Because I think, for the range, it's range touch, I believe.
It is, but this one specifically doesn't provoke, which is kind of fun.
Yep.
Although she doesn't have anything to provoke with anyway, I guess.
I
guess from your reaction, she probably would be flat-footed.
Yes, but that's not the reaction. Well, that's not why the reaction. Let me pull up my bag notes here.
Again, clarifying, I'm not hitting the bag.
You're putting her hand into the bag and then shooting through the bag, correct?
No. I'm
Oh.
making like I'm about to reach into it, and then like
Oh.
instead like reach forward and like aim at her chest.
Okay,
Flopping palm.
okay, that makes more sense. All right,
Yeah.
never mind then. All right, we're good. I was about to say, oh, we're gonna go for a magical explosion. Okay, let's go for this. Let me nuke you.
No.
All right.
Grabs your own bag of holding and puts it inside that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead and do a range touch.
Honestly,
Flat-footed range touch. That probably hits because the only thing that could apply is a deflection bonus.
Flat-footed is the one without dex, right? To make sure I'm correct in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Then yes, that does hit. I was
I was
like,
about to say, it's like there's nothing that can apply.
no,
just
she
about.
doesn't have natural. Well, she didn't have natural armor. But I'm like sitting here. I'm like, wait, her dex bonus.
Well, natural armor doesn't even affect flat-footed anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Well, it affects flat-footed. It doesn't
no, flat-footed.
touch.
Sorry, not touch attacks. Touch attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when it's both. There's nothing that applies.
Go ahead. How much damage are you unloading? Oh!
70.
Oh shit!
oh my god!
As you watch as
One,
Eider
two.
kind of leans forward and like unleashes this against this woman, a hole burns through and a look of utter surprise. Kez and Ned, as you're starting to jog up at a pretty aggressive pace at this point, not sprinting, you see as a beam of light kind of fries through this creature and into the ground, kind of exploding out as it leaves a crater in their chest. And as the creature's tentacles pull back, you watch as from Kez and Ned, your perspective, the hole seals up. But from Eider and Dom, you see as this woman looks at you, Valthana, kind of almost in shock, as Kez and Ned come up behind, and she goes,
Grab her back, no!
You've won this day, as she snaps her fingers once more and disappears into a cloud of smoke. She leaves behind a single soul coin on the ground, where she dissipates.
Huh.
Time to snap it.
So
Dom-
wait, I have
Dom
a
will
question.
pick it up. Oh,
Keznok has never come across a soul coin before in person.
Oh shit, yeah, this is your first time seeing it.
Yep.
How does Keznok react? Or what kind of feeling am I feeling from this?
Give me a wisdom, and then a will save.
I don't think I've ever seen a soul coin either.
Yes, Ned. In your case, give me a knowledge nature, because
Oh,
you're
no.
not affected thanks to your god, because you don't have a god.
oh.
At least not a god in the sense of yeah. Yeah, but Eider and Dom had something else happen.
No, we
so,
definitely did.
So you said wisdom and then a what?
A will save.
All right, so wisdom is 24.
Okay.
And will is also a 24.
Okay.
Actually, no, more because 24 28.
20. Okay. Starting with Ned real quick. Ned, you have seen these coins used before. Powerful druid grove leaders are known to use these with individuals, or to gain these from individuals who have made evil or done evil deeds to the grove itself. Very powerful grove leaders are capable of creating deals with individuals for their life in exchange for basically what you would know as these coins. These coins are most often used to barter with beings from a plane that, from your knowledge, would be able to bring forests to life and grant druids even more power beyond what they know without costing them their souls. They just usually pay in these coins instead. It's their way of avoiding paying a toll, is what the term that's used for that you would know. Beyond that, not much else is known for you. Kez, with yours, you, for a moment, see this coin, and almost a shock goes through your entire body as it does so. You see standing before you Ella Ugbo, almost in this very similar fire giant, or a fire giant-like form, though motherly looking, very old and very happy and proud. As you see a very big smile on her face, you feel the warmth and love coming from her as she looks on to you for a moment. And as she does, we're going to end session there today. We thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you
Oh, fuck.
next time.
I've been cucked.